production. Good evening, gentlemen. This is Sir Yeetus. This is episode 41 of Sir Yeetus's Thoughts. And I've been teeter-tottering on this topic because I know this topic is a very sensitive subject for many people, especially modern women. But at this point, I believe this is getting out of control and it needs to be talked about, okay? And I don't want to hear that, oh, you don't have a uterus, so you don't really have this. Yes, the fuck I do, because the fact that you have a kid, who helps you create that kid? Oh wait, us. So we're gonna be addressing this today. It's gonna be pretty controversial, but at the same time, I don't give a shit. If somebody doesn't say anything, who will? But who I have here with me is the one, the only, Rishi.
Yo, what's up, boys?
Rishi is back once again. And on top of that, I have Figure Bigger.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are we doing tonight?
I am doing phenomenal. I am getting ready to talk about this subject because I'm tired of amount of women saying that we have no say. We completely have a fucking say. Okay? Because this thing called abortion is a one-sided agreement. We are responsible whether we want to be or not. So
That's right.
I'm definitely going to be getting into the details.
Very good.
But before I begin, let's surf through the comments. Yeah. Yeah, man. The art at the thumbnail, definitely all thanks to Sketchbook. Sketchbook, he doesn't play when it comes to his art. And I'm sure you guys saw Manic's new art in the earlier stream today. That's also Sketchbook. All right. Luckily, I was able to get the art for free. But thanks to you guys' donation, I'm going to get additional art from this guy. You guys going to see new art very soon. Let me go on. Yeeters, where'd you get those peepers? Don't compare me to Jeepers Creepers. What you doing? What you doing? I'm more evil than that guy. I don't have wings, but I got a flaming skull. That kind of works a little bit. I'm like Ghost Rider's distant cousin.
Yep.
Okay. Do. Okay, you guys talking about some. See, I would have Hammer Hand on the stream if I'm able to get into contact with him. You know, but
love to have Hammerhand on. I a big fan of Hammerhand. He got me started on my red pill journey back, I believe, in 2016.
I have 100% respect for Hammerhand. I watch a shit ton of his videos. You know, even the shorts. Yeah, I watch all the shorts. He always has sound advice to give because, on top of that, he has the wisdom that comes with his age.
Yep.
So, if he ain't sounding like a senile old man, which he's the opposite of, best believe you should pay attention to what he has to say. Because what are you guys currently experiencing now? He already experienced it. The things that you will experience, he already did. So he'd be able to give you that sound advice.
Yep. Correct.
Let me About time Skeleton Man did a stream today. I was recovering. I went too hard last night. I was with my homie I haven't seen in months, and it was free alcohol, so I couldn't say no.
Who can?
Exactly, like shit. Like what? You're just gonna be like, oh no, I'm being straight edge.
No, you don't never say no to your boys when it's time to drink.
Right? You might as well punch his cat. Like,
yep.
The fuck. Right. MC. Yeah, that's the big thing. I think other content creators that has been affected, and I know content creators that has been affected by the PayPal thing, they should look closely into that to see if they can get any type of refund at least. Because it's so messed up what PayPal has been doing recently. So fucked up.
Yep.
All right. Yep, pretty much. Yeah. PayPal stole people's money. That's pretty much what they did. They're like, yoink.
Our money now.
All right. Abortion is the greatest representation of a woman's abandonment responsibility. I like that.
Yep.
I might have to steal your quote. You know, let me know if you want to be quoted for it. That's a phenomenal quote that you just said. What do you got to say about that, Fingermaker?
Oh, well, yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. And now I don't know how accurate this still is, but the last I checked, I believe it's the state of Vermont. In the state of Vermont, a woman, a married woman, can go and abort her husband's child without his consent, but he can't go get his tube tied without her consent.
Oh, you talking about the vasectomy?
Correct. He has to have her signed consent for him to get his tubes tied, but she can go kill his child without any permission.
Another reason to not get married, gentlemen. Hell the fuck! I gotta ask my wife for permission. What the fuck? Fuck
Yeah.
out of here. I don't gotta ask for shit.
Yep.
Especially
No, it's definitely murder of life. You know, I mean, if you were to go and kill a pregnant doe in hunting season, and a game warden catches you, they'll nail your ass to the wall as far as they can. But women butcher their own children all the time, no consequence, and they fight for that right to murder. That's all I got to say for now.
But finger banger, it's not murder. All right, it's just a clump of cells.
Yep, that's what they say. Well,
like bullshit, and then at the same time, especially women, mainly in the military, will use that very same excuse of, "Oh, I'm pregnant," to get out of deployments.
Yep. Well, that's why I believe if they're in the military, they should be in limited roles.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeetus is Ghost Rider's black friend. All right, you're not wrong. There was a chick arrested for having sex with over 70 corpses. She was pregnant from one. Family court will probably go after him for child support. Dig him out of his grave. Hey, man, you gotta go to court.
Ridiculous. The world's losing its mind.
What'd you say?
I said the world has lost its mind.
It's
crazy.
70 corp, like the the fact that she's willing to sleep with 70 corpses and to settle with a good average man. Ain't that some shit?
Says a lot.
If I was an average dude doing average things, I don't know. I would contemplate eliminating myself at that point. Like, damn, she'd rather fuck dead bodies. Like, that sucks. Like, live guy right here, live dude. Are you willing to dig up corpses or go to the autopsy room and do the deed with people who aren't even here anymore? That's very demoralizing for an average man.
Well, it's just an evil thing to say, period. There was a time, gentlemen, there was a time that just uttering something so heinous would get you put at the stake.
Literally.
They'd call you a witch and burn you alive.
I was saying about the Salem witch trials. My bad.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would be applicable as well. They'd call you a witch and they'd strap you to a wagon wheel, set it on fire, and roll you down a mountain.
Or
back when the world made
go a boulder and throw it in the lake.
Yep.
What'd you say, Rishi?
Back when the world made sense, bro.
Yep.
She's thinking for herself. She's a witch.
Women shouldn't read. Soon they get ideas and start thinking.
You can read a sign. Burn her.
So what is it that I heard? I heard this from someone. I think it was Hammerhand, if I'm not mistaken. But he said currently, since Roe versus Wade, since that time, I believe in the 60s, women have killed more life worldwide than all the wars of men and all the genociding and all the deaths combined in human history, recorded history.
I thought it would reach around 400, 500 million.
Yeah, it's quite astronomical.
At least from Planned Parenthood itself in the United States alone.
Yeah. It's horrific. Horrific.
And guess who's more likely to get eliminated? Men or women? Like
I would say men.
The babies.
It depends on what country. I know China was more to get rid of the girls, and they wanted more boys.
Because they knew there was more value.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, I ain't gonna be that guy, but I had to keep it real. You know, but JD said a very good comment I have to bring up. If you kill a pregnant woman, you're charged with 2 murders.
Yep.
But I thought it was just a clump of cells. So what's going on here? What is this?
Contradictory. Yep.
Walking contradictions. Oh, hey, don't get me wrong. I support abortion if it was legitimate medical issues, like legit medical problems that will, like, her life is in danger. I support it. If she went through a heinous act with a fucked up dude out there that raped her, I support it.
Oh, that's like the 0.2% or something. Yeah.
Right. But those are the only 2 reasons I'll support abortion. That's it. Her life is actually in danger medically, or she actually went through a heinous act that caused the pregnancy against her will. Those 2 reasons, I agree 1,000,000%.
And there lies the other problem, though. That's when we get into splitting hairs, and that's when you have to have some type of standard where this is where the buck stops.
Yeah, with the second.
Because you know, a lot of women, they always say, "Well, I was raped." They were always saying, "I claim the victim."
You mean raped?
Yeah, rape. Yes. My apologies.
It's all good.
Absolutely. Yep.
What are you gonna say? Keep going. Like you gonna keep? You got?
No, I'm just that's the only where I was going with. Yeah.
Yeah, because I agree with the second reason. You know, like, because it's all about her interpretation. Like, don't get me wrong. There's cases where it's obvious, but there's other cases where it's she regretted the next day type situation.
Yep.
I definitely agree with what you're saying. Definitely.
So,
I'm just reading through the comments before we actually begin the topic.
Right.
Because I listen to my subscribers. Unless you're a hater, I'm gonna clown you.
Yep.
Let's see. Something's wrong with that because a dead body cannot get an erection. Depends how fresh the body is. It can still happen. Based on my scientific knowledge, unless you guys got anything else to say about that, because I'm pretty sure a body can still be functioning. A dead body can still be functioning, depending how recent that person died.
Yeah, I was wondering about that myself. I'm sure it's a possibility. I just don't know. I've never looked into that kind of stuff. I never wanted.
Right, but you just like it's just because you know that person could have died that day or the next day. In my opinion, at least a few days or whatever, his thing could still be working. You know, like all the sperm doesn't die off just like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's still some working things. So I assume that lady that did sleep with the corpses were in the autopsy room or whatever. That's where all that happened. Of course, not in a graveyard.
It's all around. It's a very, very dark, and I mean, I'm not trying to be religious, but it's just downright evil. Just the very thought of it.
In my opinion, yes, beyond evil. That shit is not normal. That is disgusting.
Yeah.
See, but that's how much value you have, gentlemen. There's women out there that's willing to take your seed beyond the grave.
Yep.
Do. All right, let me keep reading. Let's see. Island Hermit. One of my first serious girlfriend got an abortion behind my back and nearly broke me. Found out that same girl, little sister, was actually her daughter. What the fuck? That's a plot twist. Damn, you got bamboozled, bro. But in all seriousness, I'm gonna speak. I'm gonna talk soon about why abortion is. I mean, abortion by choice. I mean, abortion using abortion as birth control. I will explain soon why men view it as you might as well shoot his sibling in the face right in front of him. Like I'll explain the severity very soon. Bam. Abortion is an infringement on male sexual reproductive rights, but nobody mainstream wants to talk about that. Well, because who gives a fuck about men these days, right? They don't give a fuck about us. Even when we speak our mind, women want to infiltrate the manosphere just to try to shut us up. It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah, and here's the deal. Like when it comes to having intercourse, women are the gatekeepers of sex. They always have been. That responsibility lies mostly on them for them not getting pregnant. There's so many different types of birth control out there to prevent that. And if they weren't smart enough to do so and they want to get an abortion, I think they should just go straight up and go ahead, and then get your tubes tied. Never reproduce again. Be done.
Yep.
Yeah,
that buck stops right there. That buck will stop right there, and that'll put an end to it.
They want to kill their children so badly. Hey, let's just get their tubes tied, bro.
That's it. Go ahead, and then you'll never have kids again, and we'll never have any more of your weak genetic spread throughout the earth. That's where we're the end of it.
Hey, Sketchbook, what's going on? This is the person that created the artwork for me and Manic if you were in Under Chronic's live stream. This guy right here, Sketchbook, that guy. I agree, Lazarus. The West is in a race to see who can give a man the shortest end of the stick. I completely agree with that one. Oh, Lord. Lordy. And one more. We all know women use getting pregnant as a man trap, and abortion is a get out of jail free card. Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what the? Okay. Time to start this topic. All right, the topic for today is abortion. So before I continue the topic, Fingerbinger, what is your clear stance on it?
On the topic of abortion, my stance has already been I believe it's made quite clear to the audience. I'm completely against it. I think it is absolutely murder, and no woman should have that right to murder a human being. There should be no means for her to do that legally. It's an evil thing to do. And I believe those children that are butchered the way that they are, I believe that they are their bodies are used in other heinous ways after the fact. I just don't like any of it. Very, very evil situation.
So what if it's legit medical issues?
Again, there's always exceptions to every rule. They say
that's their only exception.
Yeah, there are exceptions, and even a broken clock is right twice a day, they say. But if I can apply that, but
I mean, like a doctor states like, "Hey, you're probably going to die if you go through with this pregnancy."
Right, you'll die plus the baby, of course, and I get that. But then there comes a point like if we're able to change this at one day at a time, if we're not able to do it, then maybe our sons can. Where are the standards going to stop? Where we say, okay, this is as far as we can compromise with this type of thing, and no one can alter or change that. There has to be a standard in place.
Well, because we all know how women, they love to move the goalposts.
That's right.
They feel, yeah. And men have no say whatsoever with their child as well. I thought having a child was a 50-50 thing, but in the gynocentric system, that's not the case.
Yeah.
What else I was going to say? So your stance is, because it's my stance as well, abortion should not be used as birth control.
Nope.
Okay. See? Bam. Right there. Rishi, what about you? What is your stance on abortion?
Abortion?
Yes.
Well, I'd say I don't really agree with it at all because, at the end of the day, you're killing your baby. Like, there's no way to get around that. They call it a clump of cells. They call it, whatever. But truth of the fact of the matter is, like, despite the science, you're still just killing your future offspring. So I agree with Finger Banger. If they want to go through with it, if it's not, the rare exception of like medical, reasons, if they're doing it out of convenience, and they have to get their tubes tied.
And the
So they don't
main
deserve
issue, right? The main issue I have with it, because there's countless, I'm sure you and Fingerbanger can name countless issues with abortion in itself. But my main issue is I call women that use abortion as birth control as the most selfish decision, and they're selfish, like beyond selfish people. Hear me out right quick, right? The fact that you're willing to end a bloodline by choice, just out of leisure. Your family and your parents can't get a grandkid. The person that you chose to sleep with, and it is willing to be a father. You just ended the bloodline because it wasn't convenient for you. That is beyond evil. That is beyond selfish. That is one thing that I will never be able to forgive. Hypothetically, if my girl ever did that to me, she's dead to me. Dead.
Yep.
What do you guys say about that?
I'll let you go first if you want to, Rishi.
Rishi, you there?
Yo.
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Do you want me to go ahead and go? You want me to go? All right. So my take on it, you gonna say something, or you want me to say it?
No, you go ahead. I already said my piece.
Okay.
You go ahead.
All right. So here's the it's murdering the child. And here, let's talk about this too. Let's talk about an extra issue that comes along with that, with the act of abortion. When that happens, and a female will panic and go get that done. Let's talk about all the negatives that come after, because the thing is, it doesn't matter whether or not she has regrets. The fact is, it does affect and damages women permanently after they do that. Whether it galvanizes them and makes them just completely soulless, most cases it leaves them emotionally and spiritually damaged, bankrupt, and they live with that guilt the rest of their lives. There's nothing positive that comes out of this. I've seen this too many times with females. Permanent damage.
I agree. I definitely agree. And it's beyond concerning that there's women out there bragging about they're on their 6th, 7th, 8th plus abortion. Yep. That is beyond concerning. Like, I immediately say this is not right. This is wrong. So wrong. Yep. That you're just doing this for your feminist agenda, or you're just doing this leisurely. Like, what the fuck? What is your reason? there is no reason to have your 8th abortion.
Yep.
And the fact, see, that's a big mistake. So, I didn't go completely into the topic yet, but we'll ease our way through as we talk. It is the ultimate slap in a man's face, in my opinion. The alt like the okay, yeah, I would say as a man, that is the ultimate disrespect for a woman to purposely end your bloodline.
Yep.
That doesn't have any reason beyond medical. Like,
right.
There's women that were killed over this. Like legit killed.
Yep. Right.
And do I blame the man? No. Was it illegal for him to do it? Yeah. But I understand why he did it.
Yep. It's like, what's his name? Who was that? Was that Chris Rock? He's like, he should not saying he should have, but I understand. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. It is insane how what's even worse, the indoctrination of feminism and the gynocentrism want to tell these young women that it's okay. Like it's empowering for you to end a life, end multiple lives over and over and over and over and over and over. Downright demonic.
Yep.
But I got somebody to add to the conversation, or 2 people. Real talk.
Good.
What's good, boys?
What's going on? And Island Hermit.
What's up, guys?
What is going on? I am going to start with.
You want to get gat? Yo, my bad. Let Island start. Give me a moment. My bad.
All right.
So I just
Island
want to
Hermit,
say,
what is personally before you start?
I just want to say, Tom McDonald said it the best. So
Island, hold up.
bacteria.
Wait.
What?
Before you start, I gotta know your stance. Are you for or against abortion, and why?
I'd say overall, I'm against it, but I'm in a way, like if you're gonna become a single mother and your kids are gonna grow up in 20 years and rob me, then yeah, sure, get it, because you're probably gonna raise a demon of a child anyways. But yeah, I'm not for it for the most part.
But the fact that these model women choose to put themselves in that predicament, it's
like
insane.
I had a conversation with my dad the other day because he's like, can you believe in Texas women can't get abortions now? And I'm like, they could just like choose to not be whores and like take birth control and make the guy wear a condom and like, none of this they have to worry about. And he just like couldn't argue with me about it.
Actually get married.
Yeah, actually get married. But still, even if they like want to run around and be 304s, like condoms are a thing. Make him wear a condom and fucking get birth control, but they don't want to. They want to raw dog all the Chads and Tyrone. So,
okay. And what were you saying about Tom McDonald?
Yeah, I wanted to say Tom McDonald said it the best in the song "People So Stupid." So, bacteria is life on Mars, but a heartbeat isn't life on Earth. Weird. That's the kind of logic we're going with today.
That's the goalposts that I was talking, especially what JD said earlier. The fact that they say, "Oh, why are you worrying about me having an abortion? Oh, it's just a clump of cells, bro. Why you overreacting?" But if a person kills her intentionally or by accident, he's charged with 2 murders.
Yep, like if you get in a drinking and driving accident and you like kill a pregnant woman, you're fucked. Double murder.
Yep.
But when she chooses to end that child's life herself, it's just a clump of cells.
Yeah, she's strong and empowered, and it's just a clump of cells, and she didn't do no wrong.
She didn't do nothing.
But like I said before, They say it's a clump of cells, but when it comes to military, they purposely get themselves pregnant to get out of deployment.
Yep. If World War III happened today, you would see so many of these broads. Oh, I'm pregnant. They'd fucking cling on to the nearest dudes. Their legs would open up like a face hugger alien, and they'd be fucking on that dude's schlong getting knocked up.
And at that point, and World War III happens, I really hope that the government is like, hold on. You said that was just a clump of cells. It's no big deal. So grab your weapon. You're going to China.
They won't, though. The government will cuck out.
Yeah, I know. The Simpson power, right?
The only thing we have to look forward to is the government is going to be, or the military is going to be all women and trannies. So when that happens, it's just going to be free ammo pickups when they try to round us all up. I'm going to do Fortnite dances on their dead bodies while picking up all the guns and shit.
Exactly. And it's just how that, because you've been through it yourself, and I know other people dealt with a woman that aborted his own kid. His kid.
I'll tell my story. I'll tell my story really fast if you don't mind, Yeetus.
After you're done, let me know what was your thought process and like how did you feel about that?
Yeah, I was like 18 or 19, and it was like my first serious relationship. It was a girl. She worked at Hooters. I was working at a bar. She's actually a model now. She's probably one of the finest girls I've ever dated. We got like fucking promise rings with our names and all that gay shit. And, she was living with me at the time. And then fucking, she told me she was pregnant, and I didn't really want kids, but I was young. I wasn't red pilled yet, and I was all excited. And then one day I found out she magically wasn't pregnant anymore. And then I dug into it a little bit, and then I finally found she admitted that she got it behind my back. And then she also admitted, because I would go over to her parents' house, and there was this, like, I can't remember how old this girl was at the time, probably like 3 or 4, and she's like, oh, that's my little sister. And then she admitted that's actually her daughter, and it wasn't her little sister. So if she was 18, she had that kid at probably like 14 or 15. And like, yeah, dude, so I had to deal with the fact she lied to me about that. And then fucking
she say anything to you?
What?
The parents didn't say anything?
No, they fucking let me believe it the whole time. She admitted all this to me when she was drunk.
How did you feel when you found out that she did the deed, the abortion? Like, what
dude,
went through your mind?
I was fucked up. It was right. I found all this out right before, because I kind of like went to prison and shit. I found all this out before I went to prison, so I had a whole year of stewing on that shit, dude. It was fucked up. Because when you're locked up, all you have to do is think about things.
Because it's similar to Red Pill Rage, in my opinion. I've never been through the abortion thing, thank God. But with other people, when they find out that their boo thing ended his bloodline, ended his child out of inconvenience, I was told that this literally like you contemplate on, you know what, is this worth me going to jail?
Yep.
That's how angry these men get. Like,
but as men, there's nothing we can do about it, or else like we'll go to jail. And like Dave Chappelle says, it should be, you have the right to delete it. I should have the right to not pay for it, but that option isn't on the table for men. They have the option to delete it or make you pay for it for 18 to 20 years.
Quarter of a mil.
Don't you love it how she also switches language between is your kid or is my kid, depending on the situation, whether she wants to abort the child or take money for you for child support?
Yep.
It's your kid. You need to pay money. But when she wants to abort it, it's my kid. I do whatever the fuck I want. My body, my choice. I'm like, okay, so which is it?
They can even write your name on their birth certificate without you knowing. I seen a story in Michigan where this chick wrote down this fucking dude's name, and like, I don't know, not too long after he got pulled over and he fucking went to jail for it. And I guess it was like a girl that he hooked up with a long time ago, and he got the DNA test and it turned out not to be his, and he got stuck paying for it.
Which is insane. But we're gonna go to real talk. Are you ready?
Yeah.
What is your stance on abortion? Are you for or against it, and why?
I would say earlier, when I was, younger guy, messing around, just not really having control over myself, I was kind of for it. I was thinking, okay, if it's in the first 3 months, it really hasn't developed. But it's like after realizing that the seed that men have literally has light coming out of it underneath a microscope, it's like, from all things, like what first thing God said, let there be light kind of thing. And it's like, if God's basically coming from our seed, it's like you can't put yourself in a situation as a man to where you could potentially abort anything because of the fact, like, how can I say it? You can't mess around with any woman today and have the risk to where you would be put in such a bad situation where you would have to get an abortion. Like, your responsibility, your spirituality, like your connection with God has to be acknowledging that there is life in that seed. And until I realize how can I say, until I truly realize like that life begins from the moment it leaves your shaft. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like basically like what changed my mind. But here's one thing that I have seen. It's like when women have the ultimate choice today, when they can choose the man, they can choose to sleep with him, they can choose to not have the child, they can choose to leave the child at a firehouse, they can choose to drop the baby off at the hospital, and they have no responsibility. It's like, wait a second, when is enough? Like, how much more power can they get, and how disenfranchised are men? Like, we have absolutely no power the moment we lay down with these women. Like, when is it ever going to be enough? Because when you think about, like, I'll just be honest with you guys, the type of girls that I'm into, or the body type that I'm into, I've been known for bringing girls. Now, this isn't something that I, I'm proud of, but there's been certain girls who have gotten down with, like, specifically black guys, where I guess I had enough swag and I can bring these girls back from the black, quote unquote. But I've seen so many of these girls where
you saying with a black dude in the lobby, that's some shit.
What's that? Talk black from the waist down.
To the black, and I can bring her back.
Yeah, black from the waist down. Yeah. Island knows what I'm talking about.
I know, but I'm saying, like, me as a black dude, I'm like, well, damn. Like,
so
if you can bring her back into the light, it's all good.
Black but Ghost Rider is impressed.
Yeah, like I understand Chronic's position on this and everything, but at the end of the day, like, we all have our personal preferences when it comes to body type. But I've noticed with these girls who liked Tyrone, who like Pookie, who like Ray, who like Lil 300 Shot, these girls get down with these type of men in their youth, and they'll rack up abortions. You get down, like, you start to sexually imprint these women. You get down to it, they will rack up abortions when they're with the black guy. That gives them the excitement. But society and their family and the white pressure, essentially, they will willingly abort.
Oh, he got silenced by Suzanne. I guess he's just right there.
Did you hear what I was saying? How the white girls who like to get down with black guys in their youth.
So you're talking about the pressures of Not just dealing with the black guy itself, but colorism.
Exactly. So that's the thing is like it's just disgusting to where they can have all the choice, they can have all the power, and at the end of the day, like when will the limit on power ever be satisfied? You know what I'm saying? But I'm kind of busy right now, boys. I it's kind of botched, but I'm gonna try to call back in if I can. I'm just getting blown up right now.
All right, man. I'll be here for the next.
Cool. Yep.
All right. Before I continue, because there's a whole like crowd up in here, it's shilling time. First, let's look at the results of today's poll. All right, we're gonna be looking at that. But if you want to support my channel or the Warband in general, please donate to the link that I pinned on top of the chat. Donate to PayPal.me/Yeetus. 100% of the money will be going towards to the production of the channel or anything that the Warband needs. Because the higher quality that I can give you and what the Warband can give you when it comes to content, the better. All money donated is definitely appreciated. But I'm gonna look at the poll right quick. 73 votes. Should abortion be used as a form of birth control? 91% of you say no. 8% of you say yes. I'm assuming that the 8% that say yes, most of y'all are male feminists. So I'm gonna put it out there.
Now, Sir Yeetus, I have a question for you guys. So, would you rather the woman get an abortion, or say you knew her kid was going to grow up to be a single, he was going to be raised by a single mom, and he was going to be in and out of prison and be on welfare and basically leech off the system? Would you rather her get an abortion or basically that hell spawn to be released on Earth?
See, but that's the thing. How will we know?
Well, here's the thing, though. If she is going to get an abortion, there's, I'd say, a good chance if she had the kid anyways, she would probably be a single mom. I would almost bet my left nut on it.
Oh, yeah. If by choice and you have no influence in that kid's life, then that's a good question, actually.
Because these same women would become a single mom in a heartbeat to fucking get these multiple fucking baby daddies to give them money and fucking get money from the government. Like, they would do that in a heartbeat. That's why if like it came down to that, I would almost rather them get an abortion just so I don't have to, because they're basically ruining the system. And we all know the stats on single moms are probably going to be in and out of prison. Little Chad, little Pookie, and Ray Ray in and out of prison probably 20 years from now, robbing you at gunpoint.
I see what you're saying, man. We're definitely going to talk about that in a bit. Manic, what are you doing?
Hello.
Manic, what up?
What's up this link that you just sent?
Oh, I thought you'd relate to it.
This dude. Anyway, it's gonna be a full party, so get ready.
Yep.
All right.
All right, and welcome, Justin Random Guy, Dodge, Lazarus, and Gray.
Yo.
What's up, my fellow Jenny?
What's up?
What's going on?
Yeah,
First, we're gonna start with Dodge. Dodge, are you for or against abortion, and why?
I am against abortion. There's a couple of reasons. One, although arguments for abortion, the pro-life arguments are really bad. The main ones I've heard is that, well, what about rape or incest? And the numbers for that are like less than 10%. I think it's like 3%. It's like 1%.
Did you say grape?
Yeah, so that's one of the pro-life arguments is that.
But I was saying, make sure you say grape.
Yeah, grape. Okay.
Okay.
So in the instances for abortions, the number of cases that are for like rape or incest related is like 1 to 3%. And outside of that, it's just a social safety net to protect women from their bad decisions. And I had another thought on that, and that is, I think there's an angle about abortion that almost no one's thought of. Is we have a lot of single mothers right now. Just how many more single mothers would we actually have if without abortion? Just a thought. I think it would look like a nightmare, like even more than it is right now.
But the fact that, see, I think what first was the beginning of the end is the invention of birth control in itself.
I
Because
just can't help but wonder how many more single mothers there would be without birth control or abortion, and that's like the only thing I could think of that would be like a pro argument, but I'm not pro at all. It's just a random abstract thought that I have, is that I think we'd have a lot more single mothers right now if we didn't have like abortion or birth control. I think those are things are definitely immoral and evil. I think it's very similar to offering your seed to Moloch. If you read about that in the Bible, it's they roasted babies in ovens back in the idolatry days. It's pretty similar to that, I think.
but it's mainly because of feminism. That's the
Yeah.
only reason this is a huge issue in the first place.
I think it's a Machiavellian psyop to basically destroy society.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for feminism and birth control, because it both goes hand in hand, women won't be so easy to jump from dude to dude to dude, having a very high risk of pregnancy. So
I think the Machiavellian masters know that female nature is emotional, and you believe in lies more when you're emotional. So all you have to do is echo lies to them all the time, and then it'll have destructive results if you just keep repeating it over and over.
yeah, the Simpson power ruined everything. Because men knew for thousands of years.
It's because that
How
they are
women are.
emotional creatures that they will believe in a lie without thinking or considering it. They don't have like logical minds. If you look at the wiring of male and female brains are wired left to the left and right hemispheres, but the male brain is wired back and forth. And the male brain also distinguishes between good and evil more, whereas female brain distinguishes between like emotions, but not so much like abstract thinking or logic.
Yeah, if only she had a father or a male figure in her life to vet these dudes that she's messing with, you know. And society itself is at fault as well because they're encouraging this promiscuous Jezebel behavior.
So the reason they do get it is just so they can keep having promiscuous life. Is from what I've seen, the personal experience too. I know a woman who's had several abortions, and none of them are rape or incest related. Obviously,
Do you say grape?
yeah, grape.
Okay. Yeah, they know that they have not only birth control, but there is no shame. There's no accountability. Society won't shame her for ending a life, and that's the biggest issue in itself, where she has all the power in the world to end a life, and the person that helped create that life has no say.
So 1 in 3 chance, apparently, that if she does abort your kid, there's a 1 in 3 chance that the kid that she aborted isn't yours. I don't know if that's a white pill, but allegedly there's like a 30% chance that the kid's not yours. She aborts it.
True, but it's still that 2/3, and men are very hopeful, especially if they don't mind being a father to kids. You know, that's
Well,
such a stab in the neck.
what it did was we took the shame and stigma away in society. Now they just
yeah, like I said before, they encourage the shit.
So it is
It's so
kind
fucked.
And when we do bring it up, we're called like all the names under the sun by the White Knights. So it's like men are kind of screwing this up too.
But I see what you're saying, man. I see what you're saying. But I'm gonna have Gray have a turn. Are you for or against abortion, and why?
against, and I'm going to go to the extreme, where I'd say it's actually be very hard pressed to find an excuse where it is valid.
Okay, how so?
Okay. So let's go with the medical reason first of all. The only time I can think that is even remotely acceptable is if both the mother and the child will die. Because, like, looking at it from the more meta perspective, what is more valuable to society? A woman or a child? From an economic standpoint, the man, if it's a boy, is going to bring in more money. If it's a girl, then that girl is going to grow up to be a young woman with a high fertility chance. Whereas the mother, who has been through the abortion, she's going to suffer physical damage that will make it harder for her to reproduce in the future, mental damage, making her less suitable to be a mother, and she's likely to be a net tax drain.
So if you had to choose between the kid and the mother, which one of them has to die? Because, those situations do come up. Even though it's rare, you would choose the child.
Yes.
Okay.
So, and then in the instance of non-consensual insemination, it's still murder.
True, but at the same time, do you blame her for having that abortion when she's carrying a child that she didn't even agree to do?
Do we give the excuse to anyone if they kill somebody that, I was in a really bad headspace, I was traumatized? If a man experienced such a thing and he goes out and kills somebody for it, do we let him off the hook?
No, but
especially if he kills.
I'm speaking in recent times.
If he kills an unrelated person, that's the thing. It's not even like you're killing the attacker. You're killing an innocent to cover for a psychological trauma. We don't excuse that, and we never have.
But what I'm saying is abortion is new, right? So now she has the opportunity to do.
How new do you think new is?
I'm not defending her.
No. How new do you think? When you say new, how new do you think?
I'm talking about the safe way. Pretty new. I ain't talking about abortion back then where they're jamming a fucking whatever the fuck it is up her JJ or puniti.
Even just like there were just like toxic herbal mixes they could take back then.
Well, that as well, yes. But I was just talking about the most recent time where she has that choice, right? Because it is what it is. Unless we're able to massively wipe out, abortion is always going to be here.
But but it's a matter of but it's a matter of how easy and acceptable is it to do. Like we've talked about how there's no shame in the society anymore, and that's part of why it's expanded. But I think it works the other way, where we are a rationalizing species. Because it is legal, because it is commonplace, we don't shame it. We justify its status by removing the shame. Whereas if you make it illegal and severely illegal, then the shame comes back because there's consequences. And people will justify the consequences through shame.
So when it comes to getting pregnant by force, are you saying that she should still carry that child?
Yes.
Does it depend who it is?
Like who the woman is, or who the aggressor was.
Who the aggressor was? Does it depend who it is?
No,
Okay.
like at that point, regardless if it's a legitimate case, then the aggressor is a criminal, and they're going to prison and not suited for being a father. So, like, it's like the kid's going to go into foster care. If the mother still does not want the child at the end of it, then kid goes into foster care. Not great, but it's not murder.
I see what you're saying. I do, but I'm just saying, like, at the same time, right? Because once again, when it comes to that type of situation, I'm talking about modern times. Back then, she didn't have a choice per se, unless she wants to do some dangerous shit to get rid of the child.
They had, like, you've got to go back pretty far to find one.
Yeah.
And yes,
I feel
it
like she has to
was
do some
more
legit
dangerous,
shit.
but everything was more dangerous back then. So actually giving birth was more dangerous back then.
Yeah, I'm just saying she will much rather put her own life at risk to get rid of the child that she didn't want.
But that actually
Long
gives
ago.
weight to the decision. Because nowadays, like, they'll sign up for, like, whatever. They don't care because there's no risk.
No, we're gonna continue talking about this, Gray. We will continue.
Yeah.
This is a good topic.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I am somewhat taking a very hardline stance on this so that we can actually bounce the idea around. Although one thing that I want to say, because there's Machiavelli mentioned a couple times.
Yeah.
Machiavelli gets a bad rep, but one thing that he was always very much for was the nation. Like, his philosophy was the prince, the ruler, whoever was in charge of the nation,
The fox.
must be willing to sacrifice their souls and their beliefs for the good of the nation. So Machiavellian being used to describe a strategy to destroy the nation, really don't think that's accurate.
Okay, I'm gonna definitely get back into that one.
Side tangent.
I was talking to Manic. Who else I was? Hold up. We're gonna post a call in again. Does anybody have anything to say about what Gray said?
Yeah, I do a little bit.
Okay.
If it was grape, I don't think the woman should have to carry that, because just think about it. You have to carry something for 9 months that was physically put in your body against your will. Like, you're gonna have so much hate towards that baby, it would not even be funny, dude.
Will you?
So I agree with that statement, but also I think it would be considered a necessary evil at that point. But even then, it's like almost 1 out of 100 scenario cases that it's actual rape. So what that means is most
You mean
abortions
grape?
are just from being promiscuous. So
Great, man, great.
in that
I
case, you
don't
are
want
correct.
to get my life taken
It
down.
is probably necessary at that point if it is from rape, but that's
Dodge.
a necessary evil.
Come on, man. I don't want my live stream to be taken down, bro.
I've been saying grape.
Oh, I thought you were saying the actual word. My
I
bad.
think
No, I was saying
I think
grape
it's just
the
hard
whole
to tell with his mic.
That's all
His
I know.
mic kind of makes it sound like he's saying it.
Oh, okay. I was
I'm
about
using
to
my
ask, what
webcam
the
mic,
fuck?
I've been saying
No, like if it's
All right, you
100 per.
continue, Dodge. I want Dodge to continue.
All right.
so. Yeah, I think there are some cases where it is necessary if you are that 1 to 3%, but it would be like a necessary evil. So evil but necessary is my stance. If it is under that scenario of grape.
You know what? Nav CT, I don't know how to feel about. Well, if you want to put in your opinion, you can definitely come in. I'm definitely going to put in the chat we definitely gonna let you speak. I'm down to see what you have to say because we will have a female perspective. Now, shit will actually get interesting.
You know, I was actually thinking about what Grace said, because, um, like I said, it's 1% or less of the cases, correct?
Correct. It's
So-
like 1 to 3%.
Yeah.
Last I checked.
Yeah, well, so it's a really small percentage. And what is preventing the government from taking good care of the child and finding another family who is unable to have children, you know, and giving that child to them? I mean, that would solve a lot of problems.
That is technically an option, but I hear the Child Protective Services are involved in some nasty stuff, but I don't want to get too deep in that. Plus, I know a guy who grew up in Child Protective Services. He killed himself. I think he was abused in that system, or like the
No, no.
orphanage thing or whatever.
What I mean is not sending them to a child, to the government to take care of them. I mean, the government itself, the government itself, find a family, since it's a small percentage for those cases. There's also a
In those
small
cases, yeah,
percentage
that would
of,
be an option. You could find another family for the child. Correct.
yeah.
Like, keep in mind, that used to be something handled by the church. Like, orphanages have been a thing, are still a thing. The current system of like foster care is also relatively modern. There's room for innovation in that area to accommodate this situation. And as for the argument of like trauma, well, the act of abortion is also traumatizing. So you don't remove the trauma, you just change what kind of trauma, but only one actually involves killing an innocent.
That's true.
I think this whole rape situation, we're ultimately arriving at the question of, is the child responsible? Should the child be punished for the sins of their parent or their father in this case?
See, that's where it gets it gets to that gray area. No pun intended.
I mean, if there was ever a situation to justify like child support for 20 years, it would be in a non-consensual insemination. If there was any time when you could say, hey man, you now have to spend the next 2 decades of your life financing a child that you don't get to see, this would be the situation.
All right, guys, I'm gonna let Nab speak her piece. Anybody say some crazy shit, you're getting out of the live stream immediately. I mean that. All right, let her speak her piece. I'm dead ass about that too, because we need both perspectives, men and women, because we can't come to a conclusion if we don't hear from her side. Do you guys agree or no?
Yeah. Yep.
It's cool, man. So it's nice to have another perspective.
Nab CT.
Hello.
What is going on?
I'm good, Yeetus. How are you? Been a little while since I've been on a stream.
Yeah, it's been months, and
back. Thank you.
I am getting buzzed. So, I need to know from your perspective, because you're a woman, and us men, you know, we all have our own bias. You have your bias. Are you for or against abortion, and why?
That's a tricky one, because for me personally, when it comes to having children, I try to approach it as if like it should be very much planned, and in all aspects, both parents should be capable of raising their child to the best of their ability. So I try and avoid having unwanted children, especially when I'm not ready. However, when it comes to abortion, it's very situational. You know, like if a woman gets pregnant due to rape, I understand that. That's
Right.
unfortunate, and I believe in that aspect they should have that right. But I also believe that if females are having children for the wrong reason, say for example, what you guys talk about a lot,
Using it as a
you
form
know,
of birth
to
control.
trap a man. Well, to trap a man or anything like that, then I wholeheartedly um think that they should take responsibility for their actions and raise that child.
But do you agree that
You know,
abortion is
it's
being used as a form of birth control?
good question. I've never seen it like that before, but think
Oh, the
about it,
proof
yeah.
is in the pudding.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
I agree with that.
you, I haven't been to many Planned Parenthood. I think that's what it's called, right? Yeah.
Mm,
Uh, there's literally cases, and there's doctors that they explain. Yeah, they have multiple visits, multiple. How you say? The same person going in
mm.
multiple times, which that's not normal. Not at
No,
all
it's not.
whatsoever. And at the same time, yeah, I agree. It is situational, but the situation that I agree where it's plausible is for medical reasons and or it was by force, right? But Gray, he is
Mm,
the devil's advocate in this situation. Gray,
mm.
you say that even though that it was forced pregnancy, right? She should still have the child.
Yes.
Do you have anything to say about that, Nav? Once again, it's a civilized conversation.
Forced as
Nobody's
in
gonna.
what way? If you can
Let's
provide like a
assume let's assume worst case scenario. She is
mm,
walking on her own. She is assaulted. She is inseminated, and she is now pregnant with the child of her assaulter.
What do you have to say
uh
for that?
well, I mean, my
Are you
first question is, what was she doing walking around on her own? You know?
true? But that's besides the point, right? She was forced
Yeah.
against her will to have this child,
Well,
right? So is she still obligated to have the child by the assailant, or is she within her right? I'm talking about morally, not legally or not. I'm talking about morally. Is she within her right to still have that abortion, or should she still have that child? Because abortion is ending a life regardless.
hmm.
So, are you for, not for, but what is your thoughts on her still having the child with her assailant, or she's within her rights to have that abortion?
I, it depends. If she's in a position to look after that child, then I'll be more inclined to say okay. But if not, then no.
So,
So it's
she
I lean more
gets,
towards no, to be honest, because that's grape.
okay.
Like what? Like yeah.
So, so you lean towards her having the abortion, or you leaning towards her having the child regardless?
Having abortion. It's grape.
Okay,
Like
and
you can ask for that.
you feel, yeah, you didn't choose that person to carry his child. It was by force. You know, and that's a good enough reason for her to have that abortion,
Well, yeah, as I said before, if it was a situation where it was grape,
right?
then yeah, I support them having that choice to not have that child.
So, what do you have to say about that, Gray, based on what she said?
Well, one of the interesting caveats there was was conditional on if the mother was able to look after the child. That is not something I'd factor in, because the question is not raising the child, but carrying the child to term.
Well, I'm gonna talk about myself personally a little bit because it's something I do think about time to time.
It's all good. It's your perspective. It's all good.
Yeah. So, like, with my situation, right, my birth parents had me out of wedlock, from my understanding. I don't know whether or not they were in a relationship or anything like that. But in my situation, they weren't in a position to look after me, so I ended up being put up for adoption. And I was very, very fortunate that I got adopted. But if I hadn't, my life could be totally different to what I have right now. So in situations where it's like unplanned, or it's grape, or the parents are in no position to look after the child, then yeah, I'll be for abortion.
So what do you have to say?
It's just like...
What'd you say?
Sorry. No, that's all I had to say.
Okay, great. What do you guys say about what Pharaoh Ravage said? That's probably traumatic to a kid. Imagine being told you were born through rape.
Yes. Yeah, no, I don't disagree that is trauma. That's traumatizing to a child. And did anyone watch like, these aren't real life examples, unfortunately. I don't know anyone in real life who experienced that situation. But did anyone ever watch Law and Order Special Victims Unit?
Yeah, I had watched that.
Like, the female protagonist of that show, that's her origin story.
Yeah.
Which comes back to. And there's been a couple fantasy stories where that was the character's origin and they had to confront it. So it's something that has happened. But here's the thing. We get to have the luck, but at least you get to have the luxury of being alive. Like, would you rather, like if you had to choose right now between learning a truth like that about yourself or being dead?
Okay. I agree. And I'm
not even asking people to agree. At the very least, just thinking on it. Like these are the things to weigh on it. Because, like, no matter the trauma, the mental anguish, on the opposite side of the coin is death.
So what about something going too far then? So in the premises of rape, what if, which it does happen, what if it was by a family member? Would you be in the right to get that abortion at that point? Especially due to medical reasons of the child? Because, family member.
That is the point where I'll admit there's somewhat of a gray area.
Right.
Because the future of the child is compromised.
Right.
And if it is found out early enough, there are far less intrusive options. Because keep in mind, there's the morning after pill. That's a 72-hour window. So if it happens and like notification and like there's notification and a kit is present, like if it happens and there's short notice, this shouldn't even be a situation.
That's okay. And Trini MGTOW, if you don't want children, don't have sex. Simple.
That's why we're assuming a worst case scenario with this, with non-consensual insemination. True.
But unfortunately, it's not that simple. Chinny McTell. It's not. You can't tell somebody to, an average person, don't practice your biological urges. You get what I'm saying? They need to have some reason to not do that. And unfortunately, in the West, they don't have a reason to don't have sex. There's no consequences behind it, if you get what I'm saying.
And that's the other aspect of it. Like, because, like, if it's one thing if, like, it's non-consensual from a family member, like, that's pretty specific, pretty severe.
Yeah, very rare. I agree.
Right, but also it's not something that you can just throw out willy-nilly. Whereas if you say, okay, we have exceptions in case of non-consensual, then anytime a woman wants it, she can just say, oh, well, this was the result of something non-consensual. I don't know who the father is. Or she can just point at someone random. If the child never comes out to term, you're not really going to do a DNA test of an aborted fetus just to confirm at that point. You might, but probably not.
No. But if it was, once again, if it was from an obvious family member, that is too far. And that, once again, rare, but it happens. And those small, rare occasions, along with the grape, I say that's the only time. Because once again, those are the times where I say, you know what? I will agree with the abortion.
Now, and this is where it gets kind of messy because, okay, I'm going to take a slightly dark turn here. So,
oh boy,
if I'm going, as if we're not dark enough already. But I believe it's in the Netherlands, like right now. They've solved a bunch of genetic issues by aborting the kids that they think are going to have genetic issues.
Right.
So if you're going to say incest babies are okay to abort because genetic issues,
right,
that opens up that can of worms.
But it is pretty obvious that it is grounds if it's from an obvious member of the family. That's bound to not end well. Just based on genetics alone.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. It does open up a can of worms.
So that's the thing. It has to be extremely strict. And the punishments for such a thing have to be extremely strict as well.
So do you agree with what Texas? I think they revoked it. I don't know what happened with the abortion laws or whatever, where if they do decide to get an abortion 3 months prior, I think it's like if the baby's like 3 months old or less.
3 weeks.
Oh, 3 weeks? Oh, that was 3
months.
months.
They have I believe it's a 3 week time. I could be wrong. Fact checked me. But I believe they have 3 weeks, and then after that, they can no longer get an abortion.
Yeah, and if they still do have the abortion, after the fact, that they have to pay a heavy fine. I think it was $10,000.
Yeah, then you can get in trouble for if you take them to get an abortion too. You can get in trouble for that also. They ain't fucking around in Texas.
Right. So, all right, how do you feel? I'm going to go to you, Island Hermit. How do you feel about a society of single mothers can't thrive? Will that excuse abortion?
I'll talk about, I kind of brought it up on one of your other streams. I'll say, bring this up, and then I got to go. So, you guys remember Darkseid from DC Comics, right?
Yeah.
So, he was obsessed with the anti-life equation. Well, a society of single moms I call the anti-civilization equation. Because when you get a society where single moms are the norm, they're everywhere. where your society is bound to collapse.
True.
Well, that's the thing. You don't
Dark
need
Side himself would be
abortion.
happy.
You don't need abortion to not have a society of single mothers. You simply need to remove the children from the single mother household and put them in a single father household.
Well, we just need a society where men are allowed to keep their pimp hands strong again.
Yeah, that will, unfortunately, and we all agree here, it will have to take the collapse for things to go back in order.
Until men are allowed to keep their pimp hands strong, it's never going to go back to normal. Society is going to be fucked. So that's why I hope it fucking collapses as fast as we can. Fucking put all the trannies in military, put all the women in military, do all the clown world shit so we can hurry up and start over.
Well, that's actually the other thing. You mentioned the military there. Like, for one thing, I think a big part of the military issue
is I've been in there.
Because, like, here's the question. Like, it does take two to make a baby.
Yeah.
Who are these women getting the semen from?
Random dudes.
Okay, is it random dudes in the military?
Yes and no, because it can also be somebody that can, because deployments doesn't happen. You have a few months notice, depending on the severity of the situation and when you're going to be deployed. So they'll have time to have some quick relationship, or they'll just go with some guy that they already knew in the military and try to form that lovey-dovey relationship. We should. Why use the condom? You don't need to use a condom. And then eventually, before the deployment starts, and the pregnancy is far enough, they'll be able to let the leadership know, hey, I'm pregnant. I can't get deployed. And by law, they can't get deployed. So.
Well, this is where, like, some
Hey, Yeetus, I got to take off, though, dude, so.
All right, man. Peace out. There will be a.
It was great being on the stream. Yeah. Nice seeing you, Rishi. You guys keep up the good job. If anybody wants to find me, check out my channel, Island Hermit RP3. Great to be on the stream, guys. Peace out.
Peace out.
Very cool. Peace out.
Gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night myself. Take care. Thanks for having me on the stream, Yeetus. Appreciate it. And y'all enjoy the rest of your night.
No problem, man. Peace out.
Later.
Well, this is where the idea of consequences comes in.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, you're no longer deployable, but you are now dishonorably discharged for intentionally injuring yourself.
If they can prove it.
But that's the thing. Like, a woman is not going to get pregnant by accident.
Yeah.
So she gets pregnant. She's a soldier. That's basically, you intentionally injured yourself. So.
But they can't really prove it per se, unfortunately.
They can't prove she's pregnant?
They can't prove that she intentionally got pregnant to get out deployment.
If she got pregnant while in the military, then she got pregnant to get out of deployment. Like, that's the thing. Straight up. It's
they can't hold it against her. I've seen it personally.
Well, you can't now. This would be a change that would be required.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the thing. So, like, changes required. And this would be the other thing with taking the child to term. You get to confirm who the father is and punish him as well. If it's someone in the military or someone outside the military, you charge them with injuring a soldier. That removes them. Because that's a government, like, regardless of whether or not you want to, like, the efficacy of a female in the military, that's still a government asset that tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars was poured into that is now being removed at the moment that it's needed.
Yeah, that would definitely work for a man.
Like, if a man like, oh baby, you don't need a condom, and he's like, I am not going to fucking prison over this. Like, that's the thing. Like, you hang a prison sentence, and in the case of a military man, a dishonorable discharge over their heads, they'll think twice.
Yeah, it will be a lot better situation, and I guarantee you there'll be a lot less women in the military if they can't use pregnancy as an excuse to get out of battle.
And that's the thing. Like, and then also, if they don't have the option of abortion, then they
Right.
can't just do it, get their discharge papers, and then go and abort the fetus.
Right.
Like, it's like, no, you get this, you're holding on to it for 9 months, and you're going to be and if you don't, then you're going to be charged pretty severely. Like, if you intentionally go and do it, 1st-degree murder. If you fuck up, that's manslaughter.
If only that was the fucking laws of the land. Shit would be so much different right now.
Yeah.
Like, she's actually held responsible. Yeah.
Like, I have no illusions that these kinds of laws and ideas will pass anytime soon. It is going to take a breakdown of the current power structure for that to happen.
Right.
But I at least want to put these ideas out there to get people thinking about them and some of the logic behind them.
Well, shit. Watch my shit gets taken down because you're speaking facts.
You know, I have a question about that. That has been sitting around here for some time. I mean, a child's made both by the father and the mother.
Yeah.
Right. So why can the woman just go and have an abortion, without the consent of the man? I mean, why is it possible to do it hidden? I mean,
because of the my body, my choice nonsense.
Well, no, that's a load of horse shit. Because on the genetic level, like, the fetus, from the moment the sperm enters the egg and there's successful fertilization, that is not your body anymore. The genetic information is different, not your body.
Right.
Yeah, because for me, what I kind of get the feel of is it's that it's not a moral thing to do. It's wrong. And that's why it can be done hidden, I mean, that's what it seems like, because...
Well, I agree with Dave Chappelle with what he said. Hey, if you're able to end that unborn baby's life, I should be able to have the right to not be financially responsible if it was known in the beginning that I did not want to be your father.
Well, I think a healthy society, the parents should sacrifice for their children, not the other way around. And that's why I say that, abortion is the ultimate representation of a woman's abandonment of responsibility. Because they are sacrificing their child, their own flesh and blood, in order for a career or something else. Unless it's the situations that we mentioned previously, that's a different story.
Well, speaking of that, NAB CT.
Yeah.
Do you believe it's selfish for a woman to end the bloodline out of leisure? I'm talking about she's actually with a man, just because she got pregos. That's what happens when you have sex. She doesn't want the baby out of inconvenience. Do you think that's selfish of her to do that?
Yeah. Are you talking about if they're like married or something?
Yeah, let's say marriage. Yeah, let's go with marriage because it does happen in marriage as well. She doesn't say anything to the husband or nothing. She just goes and does it.
Yeah, no, that's that's where I effed up, and selfish. The father should definitely have a say in whether or not, the child is aborted or not, especially if they're married. Yeah, no, I don't agree with that. I'm a little bit disgusted actually if people do that. Well, I know they do that, but yeah, I don't agree with that, man.
And on top of that, you wouldn't even have the baby in the first place if it wasn't for your husband. Right?
Correct.
Because you can't create your own
yeah.
baby. Like
None of those
bone
marrow
marrow
babies.
shit is a myth.
Yeah. No.
Well, not really
Yeah,
a myth,
I've
but
seen
the
that
baby
stuff.
has hella deformities. They try to do that bone marrow BS. But you see what I'm saying, though, right? The fact that if it wasn't for the husband, you wouldn't even have a baby in the first place. Yet, in today's society, he has no say whatsoever on his child as well.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, and I don't agree with it.
It is the
How
worst.
to change that, though, with the laws, I'm not sure how to go about that.
I changed the fuck out of the laws because we have safe abortions if they actually do need the abortions. But if they going left and right and jumping on Chad Tyrell Shalom and she becomes pregnant, that's on her if she wants to do a self-abortion. The high risk stuff where she could possibly bleed to death, all that crazy shit, right? That's on her if she decides to do it herself. I do believe there should be way stronger laws put in place. If not stronger, at least have it more fair for the man to have some type of rights.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's not enough to say some type of rights or a safeguard. It helps to be a little more specific.
Yeah, I said put on a lot stronger laws to have her be forbidden to have abortion out of leisure.
Well, here would be one way.
Out of inconvenience.
Like let's assume, like, riding the CC, sleeps with 12 dudes in a month, finds out that she's pregnant. In order to have the abortion, like, which I'm against, but for the sake of argument here, she should need consent from all 12 dudes. Because if you don't know who the father is, you can't get consent from one or two of them and say, "Oh yeah, that's good enough." No, you need to find every dick you took. Say, "I'm pregnant. It might be yours. Are you okay with me aborting it?" And she's got to do that 12 times.
I see what you're saying, man, but I highly doubt she'll be able to check down all 12.
In that case, she can't get the abortion.
She's already forgotten 3 names.
But that's the trade-off right there, because now if a woman gets raw dog, she knows I need to get this guy's name at the very least and be sure that he doesn't want kids, or I'm stuck with this kid, or I'm stuck with an unknown baby for 9 months. Like, that's the thing. You add that layer of consequence, you force these women to have to make better decisions.
Well, without any paper trail, she can just make up any number. Am I wrong?
I mean,
no.
She can
No,
just
she
get random people to sign and say that they're, the people that she slept with, and just get 12 signatures.
And 12. But this is where it goes. And 12 DNA samples. Like say she sleeps with 12, says it was 2, gets 2 signatures,
right?
Comes out, the DNA of the baby doesn't match either of the signatures. Bam, that's first-degree murder.
I see what you're saying.
How early can you make a DNA test on a fetus?
A living fetus.
A few months.
I mean,
a living fetus at that.
Yeah, I think you need it to be like a month or 2 in order for it to get its own individual
DNA test from the
cells.
womb, yeah.
Mm.
Because I know people that actually
And then
did do that
you know,
DNA test, yeah.
at that point, it's just a child at that point. So I like the idea that it just needs to be ironed out a bit more.
But that's the thing. All these ideals that we're bringing up right now, misogyny, patriarchy, sexist, all these crazy fucking names. That's a big thing.
The Bucks,
I
they're
think
just
it's a
throwing the book at you.
gigantic. Yes, it's a gigantic mind hive mentality, whatever it is, of women literally shaming men on a massive scale. Weak
Yeah.
men, in fact.
This is one of the big problems is that whenever we try to speak with them about this, they just either ignore it or start yelling or they go away, you know.
Saying some
It's
fucking
it's
nonsense.
pretty
yeah.
hard. It's pretty hard to have a conversation because they say they don't want to talk about it and that's it.
You're misogynist?
Yeah.
Pessimistic?
Like
It's
okay.
really hard to just sit down. I mean, grab some coffee, you know, and talk like normal people without
So,
an outburst of emotions.
yeah, I
Exactly.
agree. Because, like, on top of that, which is worse, you know, you go to the woman and say, hey, why do I have to pay for child support for a child that's not mine? You pessimistic, misogynist piece of shit. But that's not my child, though. I don't care. You're going to pay for it.
Somebody got to pay for all these kids.
Yeah, that video, yeah.
Oh,
Hell
like
no.
15 kids. Damn.
Hell no. And the fact that she got to that number without her kids being taken away is astronomical. She's living in a fucking hotel, for peace sake.
It's all by design. That's the sad part. Is it's it's like you just have to ask yourself, why is it that they have the ultimate freedom to pick and choose how they're going to live their lives without any consequence, and society has to make up for where they left off, where they fell short. It just, when that cycle continues, how much, you know, like how can it be anything except despair?
Well, that's why they already sealed their fate. When there's cases popping up on the news and social media of women actually, once again, like I forgot who said before, able to put a random man's name on the birth certificate. The man never even met her before or never touched her. And he's still bound to that child, with child support for the next 18 to 20 years.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, there's no fucking way I'm having kids in the West.
Oh yeah.
From what I remember, the guy never
in the
even
West
went to the same place she
is
was.
such a Herculean task nowadays, because you have to find a chick that's not going to divorce you, not going to give you child support, and then you have to raise the kid to be normal in this world. It's just a massive task these days.
Well, it's a troublesome task, but the simplest way to do it is you find 18-year-old debt-free virgin without tattoos, talk to the father, make the arrangement, buy some land, live on a farmhouse, cut off the internet.
Yeah.
Well, if she's raised in
Go
the West,
completely Amish.
but hold up, if she's raised in the West, 0 to 18, I'm talking about while she was younger. Never met her before.
Admittedly, yeah, there's that issue because the average age of virginity loss, if I've heard correctly, is 14 now. So,
well, on top of that, she's already feminized. You can't do nothing about that. Nothing.
Are we speaking contractual marriage, or are we speaking just married in the church? Because when we're talking contractual,
no. I'm just saying just relationship.
Okay, yeah, because there's no point contractually anymore as far as what some of the earlier speakers were talking about, like resources getting divvied up and stuff. I just don't see the point, but I got
what
to
I was
digress.
saying is, my solution is, I already told my parents, if you do want any type of grandkids or whatever, you're gonna have to travel overseas, because it gets to that point. If you want any grandkids, because I'm gonna go in an area which I don't mind going. I'm gonna go to an area where it's not that feminized, and hell, it doesn't even have to be that fucking industrial. Fuck it. I'm able to survive because I already noticed the trend, the correlation of how advanced society is and how popular feminism is. The more industrialized, the more advanced a society is, the more feminism is popular.
Well, it can afford to be. That's really it. You can't.
Right. So I don't mind living in a mediocre area where they're not in the cities or whatever. They're in the countryside. I don't mind doing that at all. Overseas,
I think the other part of it is, I think arranged marriages will probably make a comeback in the West if it's going to happen in the West.
I think it will. I think it will.
Like, I would not be surprised if there's going to be like well-established men in their like late 30s to early 50s, like speaking to the fathers of girls and making the arrangements beforehand.
Which how it should be, in my opinion. Should be.
Okay,
Because the father, he ain't trying to look at, oh, it's about love. It's about how happy and lovey and all that. No. Marriage in the end is a fucking duty.
God, no, it's fucking cringe. There's this one like YouTuber who's like, he's like that kind of conservative kind of dude, but he's basically conservacuck. Because he says like he values his daughter's future. That's why he's saving for them to go to college.
Bro. Who is it? Shout him out.
My daughter's not going to college.
All right. I guess it was a while ago, but I think his name, Dr. Steve Turley.
Oh, I think I've heard it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard it. He straight up said that, and I was like, dude, if you really cared about your daughter's future, you'd be finding them good husbands, not sending them off to whore school.
Here's the big thing: if she decides to go to college in the future, go for it. But that's
go after the kids.
That's go for it. Go to college if you want to, but that's you and your husband's problem. That's the difference. This is not my problem anymore. I already gave you away. He's you're his responsibility now. So whatever happens between you two, hey, it is what it is. I believe I don't have a say to intervene in my children's marriage, hypothetically. I don't have a say.
Well, after the marriage, you as the father have effectively handed the reins of your daughter over. That's why the father gives away the bride at a wedding.
At a young age.
You're transferring your patriarchal status of ownership to her new family.
Right. So if she decides to go to college and for some reason she becomes feminized, that's on him. You know?
Yep.
And I'll admit, I'll feel like indirectly it's my fault too, because I'm the one that vetted that man. Mm-hmm. I'm the one like, all right, he's a perfect man that'll be able to take care of you and make sure that you're comfortable enough to bring me the next generation, you know? Plus, that's my main goal anyway, to expand the family, to expand my bloodline.
Well, 58% of Indian marriages are done by matching up families, and they're successful. While in the West, it's 50% depreciation in divorce. Sorry, I'm really fucked, man.
If I have a daughter, it's gonna suck, but in my opinion, that would be the best option for me to do when she turns 18 legally. I'd be like, hey, you better start finding a husband right now. We're gonna start looking together. Okay. Because
That's the thing. I don't think that you can start that at 18. You got to introduce that concept earlier.
Oh yeah.
Because 18 is not when they start sexual activity. Like basically, she starts hitting puberty.
14.
You start talking marriage.
that's fine, but just for
Plant
legal,
that seed.
legal purposes, because I can still go to jail with that shit.
Okay, I don't like talking about marriage with your own daughter and making the discussions and arrangements. There's nothing illegal about that.
Well, no.
Like, and yeah, and you're not condoning the activity. Like, she's not going to get married until she's 18. But you can arrange the husband and start vetting the husband, like at an early age.
I agree. And once again, I'm not going to be a complete dick about it. I'll make sure that she is fond of that person. All right? I ain't trying to listen to that petty bullshit. Oh, he's 5'10". Oh, he doesn't have 6 packs. I don't want him. Like, bitch, I don't give a fuck. If it's something major, then that's different. That petty shit, I ain't hearing it.
I mean, quite frankly, you could probably get a 6-foot dude with a 6-pack and a 6-figure income if you were being like, this is an 18-year-old virgin bride and we're starting to vet you guys 5 years in advance.
Exactly. I agree.
Like, you would actually be able to get the top 1 to 5% of men to commit to that.
Easily. And another aspect of things that were sweared upon by feminists that the patriarchy had done primarily is domestic violence. Just think about this. As a man, if you're prepared to take on a virgin and you approach the virgin's father as a man, you shake his hand, you look in his eye, what percentage of men were really beating the crap out of their wives after knowing, I just went toe to toe with her father, who's a respectable dude, who's a made man, whatever it may be. I just went toe to toe with him. I shook his hand and I said, I wanted your daughter. What was the true percentage of households that had domestic violence? I would say that domestic violence is probably higher after these women got to choose the worst mates.
Oh, of course.
And
yeah.
Well, like that just blows my mind thinking about, like, that's another lie that they were able to slip past us to get us to believe, just like they believe that all these men were womanizers and they were just had so many different mistresses. And it's just like, no, there's always been Chads and Tyrones since the beginning of time. The makeup of dominant men hasn't changed. So it's just like they just slipped a lot of lies in. And that was one thing I was thinking, if you met the girl's father, you would think twice, like, this dude could come after me. He could blow my head off, like that sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? If you really beat the crap out of your wife.
Well, and that's actually something that I can't verify, but I've heard is the thing with the Middle East, like where patriarchy is still alive and well in many cases. If the husband does end up beating the wife, she's still got a relationship with her father. She has brothers. They go and they take care of business.
Yep.
Right. If he's actually being a piece of trash, that's the perks of having a father still around and a family that's still intact.
I went out with a girl who had a father who was a healer. You know what I mean? He laid hands upon people and cured them. And every time I looked in his face, he saw that the fact that I was fucking his girl.
You know what, Nav?
Yeah.
How do you feel about women marrying young? I'm talking at least 18 years old.
Depends on the situation, really. I mean, technically they're a legal adult here in Australia anyway. So if they get married at their age, then cool, that's on them. They can do whatever they want. The
But
only
would it be
real
more beneficial for her to get married young?
Well, again, it depends because most of the situations I see here is that she gets married young, most of the
Okay.
time to another guy of a similar age. So in that situation, I think it's a little bit but that's it. They can do what they want.
Which I personally wouldn't agree, which is why it's preferred for a strong male role model to vet these dudes. And once again, of course, in the current state of society, the daughter still has a say at the end of the day. But if I had a bigger say on who she should be looking at, it would definitely be guys that are in their mid 20s, maybe even late 20s.
Well, keep in mind, like women do enter puberty before men.
Yeah, of course.
So,
Yeah.
in terms of that sort of relative maturity, like it is natural for them to look at older men. And keep in mind, like it's also relatively recent that we have all this co-ed education, which I'm sure is where a lot of this marrying someone of the exact same age comes from, because that's who you are the most exposed to for what?
Mr.
Like
Plissa,
13
we're
years?
saying this shit hypothetically if marriage wasn't a bad deal for men in the first place. This is just hypothetical. I'm talking about if the laws were more fair. Or it should be equal. It should be more than equal, in my opinion. With more than men have to say.
Yeah,
Because in the end, what'd you say?
No, if the laws were really equal for both of them, then the man would have the same, and if he would support the child or not, he could have a chance to choose between that. If the woman can end the baby, then the man should have the option to not help raise a child if he doesn't want to.
Do I think it's going to change, Mr. Plixit? No. It'll change after the collapse.
Yep.
Not under the current system, not by a long shot.
But just a random guy, I agree. If the laws were a lot more fair, it would be way more beneficial for her. Because with women having more power than men in the divorce court or family courts, there's way more single women complaining, bitching, and moaning, 35 plus years old, single mothers, or have no kids at all. So, where's all the good men? Where are they?
They would understand the weight of their choices.
I agree. And that's why I believe why the government made it a lot more difficult or made the laws so unfair to men. Because at the end of the day, in a biological perspective, men are the gatekeepers of relationships. Men chooses who we commit to or not.
Well, that's the thing. It's a nice way of putting it shorthand, but to simplify it even more, because, okay, what's a relationship? It's a promise.
Just staying around, taking care of her, pretty much staying around to make sure that she's okay, and if it is his kid, make sure the kid's okay. Pretty much protecting and providing for her.
That's the thing. Protecting and providing. Protecting is security. Providing is resources.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. If a woman is independent of a man, she's going to need those resources from the government. She won't be able to defend herself against an assailant. She's going to need a man, usually in the form of the police. Resource-wise, like most women that have jobs, they're either mandated by the government or they are straight up paid for by the government. You don't get many women, and like Nav, you can like jump in if you feel that I am speaking untruly here, but most of them are not completely independent of government resources for their jobs.
True.
Being independent is an illusion, and I say that thousands of times. I'm sure you guys heard me say it before in my live streams. The independent bullshit is a fucking illusion. Nav, I'm sure you have homegirls that say that they're empowered, strong, independent. Ooh.
Yes, all the time. I generally tend to block out their chatter most of the time, though.
So would
So
you
I gotta say
agree
to
that?
that, I do. Most of my female friends are like that.
Would you agree that hypothetically, society collapse, no more resources coming in, no law enforcement or Sims or whatever to protect them? Will that strong independent shit go out the window?
Yeah, and on top of that, a lot of them are actually doing the whole bisexual thing too. I think they'll turn around real quick when that happens, to be honest.
Would you agree with that, Gray?
I mean, if you want a real life example, just look at Afghanistan.
Yeah, that's for the clearest example right there. As soon as the feminist government is out, most of the women immediately put on the hijab, put on the burqa, and burn all evidence that they were ever feminist. And the ones that are still defiant, they are made examples of.
I remember this article of how they created this female soldier brigade and they're going to defend this city, and I kid you not, 3 days later they're talking about the same city and it just fell without a single shot being fired.
Yeah, that was that an Israeli squad of all women?
I don't remember. It's been a while.
But yeah, it's gotten to the point where I have seen in the news Afghani women burning their degrees to avoid being killed. All right, because hey, in the end, men, if they wanted to or if they had to, we're savage as fuck, and we give no fucks.
Well, and that's the thing. There's two things in the event of the collapse. Number one, the simps won't it's not that the simps are going to disappear, but at that point, white knighting is actually going to bring some rewards. This is part of the thing with the simp, is that a lot of the time, the simp doesn't have a girl already, because it's easy for a simp to throw himself away for a random girl when he doesn't have one. But if he has to choose between a random girl and his girl, he's gonna think twice.
I think in the collapse, the situation for the simp is gonna be, they think it's fine to give resources because everything's plenty. But when it's every man for themselves, they just won't have the resources to even give to begin with.
So what I have to say about the collapse is, since whether it's things are going good or the collapse happens, they're still going to fall for the typical bait and switch, right? So men, that have some sense, like men in the Warband, if you see some lady out there, let's say out there on the street, oh, somebody help me, oh, all crying, Deb's on distress, I'm sure you guys will be like,
is this
that's
a
trap? That's a trap. I ain't saving her ass. But the simp is like, let me put on my Captain Saberhole cape. I got you. And then, of course, little that he knew, she was used literally as bait.
Yep, that'll happen.
It's a honeypot.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then the stupid ass simp is like, oh, finally, my chance to get some puniti. With her consent, of course.
You guys ever heard of the Israeli honeypots?
No,
what is that per se?
It's what the CIA of Israel, Mossad, they'll employ women and recruit women, very beautiful women, of course, and they'll use them to infiltrate, to collect information, pretty much like Jeffrey Epstein type stuff, because he was considered Mossad. Ghislaine Maxwell Mossad, her father Mossad. Essentially, they find the most beautiful women and they use their sexual prowess to suck businessmen in, people they're trying to collect whatever on. So this is what's going to be used in the end times to devour simps and their resources, to find. It's just going to be bad, really bad. I mean, we've seen the end time movies that have been in Hollywood. It's just going to look just like any one of those scenes would.
My favorite is Mad Max and Book of Eli. They show great examples in the post-apocalyptic. I can't even say it, but you know what I'm talking about. You know, when shit hits the fan, they show great examples.
Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned the honeypot there, because like this was actually a thing that happened down in Toronto. There was this one dude who was essentially gathering content creators by using his girlfriend, I guess, as a honeypot.
Mm-hmm. I know how weak men can be.
I mean, the honeypot is a tactic as old as time.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
Because even since the beginning of time, most men, they don't have the chance to, you know, like, is that a female in distress? Let me show her how much of a hero I am, that then maybe I'm able to spread my seed. And then bam, he gets jumped by 10 dudes and hacked to death.
Well, and that's where actually a lot of the mediocre or less attractive women are going to shine, because the man will look at like that 8, 9, 10 out of 10, and he'll go, "That's probably a trap." But the women that can't be used as honeypots, they're probably going to latch themselves to the first simp that will commit to them, and probably stick with them during the end times.
Rishi, what do you have to say about that? Because I know you've been listening. You got anything to say, Rishi, or
nah?
No. Do you at least agree with our topic of when shit hits the fan?
No. Who left?
Nav left, and
you good? Are you focused on?
We lost a couple people.
You still focused on that GTA goodness?
Yeah.
Are you winning at least?
I'm just getting into like online, but I do agree in like the sake of, I guess we're talking about, you know, when shit hits the fan, you know, all this stuff will go away.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't really have any new opinions on it. I mean, it's true. A lot of this stuff, a lot of feminism, all of it is just, you know, state funded. So
I don't know.
Once the state's gone, once the chips are down, like they'll revert back to what they were.
I thought Rishi fell to a coma from his giant meal he soundtracked on the stream yesterday.
Man, that was
I don't know.
good-ass
I
meal,
feel like
bro.
I kind of want the apocalypse to happen because I hate the current society. But on the other hand, I'm not nearly as prepared as I'd like to be if said event happened.
See, that's the biggest thing. Before abortion, right? When shit was a lot harder than it is now. Women were very selective on who they had their child with because their life literally depended on it.
And also, like, without easy access to abortion, you have a kid with one man, like, that's it. Because if you're the one who, like, the thing, like a single mother back then wasn't going around demanding a 6-foot dude, no exceptions. Like, a single mother back then was basically a leper.
There was no resources. There was no government to save them. There was no simps that'll come low. I'll take care of you and your kid. No, because back then It was already hard to survive in the first place. Now I have another mouth to feed. If it's not my kid, fuck them kids. I ain't wrong either. That was literally the mentality back then. Like, what the fuck? I ain't take care of this little motherfucker. Listen, like, bitch, the fuck? Like, we can fuck, but after that, I'm outie. And there's no way you'd be able to find me again. Back then. Once I'm gone, I'm gone. And that's why you see all these single mothers, at least back then, when they were actually shamed, they were doomed to roam the streets, whether they were single mothers or the sex workers, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, and then like they also didn't have like the same level of access to the Chads too, because the Chads, like they could get commitment from women on their level. Like they'd have to be exceptional in order to even be qualified as a mistress.
Yeah, because as a Chad, he has the abilities that average men do not have. Not just looks, but they're able to protect a lot better, able to get resources a lot better. And that was vital, very vital back in the day. You know, and that's when the saying, men are the gatekeepers of relationships, that was completely vital for a woman. Because, once again, the men only need women for reproduction. Women need men for reproduction and survival. So, that's why, especially the kings or the warlords, they had thousands of concubines.
Yeah, honestly
Genghis Khan is a
speaking,
good example.
Oh, they weren't all concubines. Some of them.
Well, he
were
just run around and fuck randomly, you know, like, you come here.
well,
Like Scorpion.
What could she do? You know, like, shit. All right. Like,
yeah,
fuck Genghis Khan.
That's really like the unfortunate side effect of just the nature of male and female dimorphism.
Right.
Is that if loyalty was ever a part of the female genome, it was not selected for survival. Like if you were part of a tribe and you were a good, loyal woman, you loved your husband, loved your kids, new tribe comes in, if you refuse to submit based on the principle of, no, I'm loyal to my husband and my son who are now dead over there on that fire,
right,
then you just end up dead on that fire. You submit, you pass on your genes. So loyalty is not selected for in those cases.
It should be beyond lucky if those people from different tribe don't slaughter all the kids. Like beyond
that's the thing. They're going to slaughter the men, and they're going to take the women for themselves.
Right. And
so, like
will
that,
they take their kids as well, or will they slaughter the kids? You know,
that's they'd slaughter the male kids. They take
the male
females.
kids. Yeah.
So that's the thing. The only way that a loyal woman could have her genes pass on is if she already had a female who was taken by the tribe, and even then, that female wouldn't be able to stand on any sort of loyalty principles as well.
That's why I say all the time, I know a lot of you men already know, Gray is already saying it. That's why a lot of us say that women are incapable of loyalty. They're incapable of love. That's in their biology. They don't know nothing about that shit. That's that delusional utopia that they want to spew around. Oh, I love you for you. Oh my God. No. That's why we always say women love what you can provide. Because they're too easy to hop on to the next dude. If they meet a bigger and better dude, or you get killed.
Yeah.
Or die.
At those times when shit hit the fans, she either had to submit because Even nowadays, most women can't fight back.
Right. And men are a lot nicer when she submits.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
true.
saying that he's you. I'll say he's less mean when she submits. Because there's guys out there, especially if they're the top 20 to 10%, and shit hits the fan. She knows right away. Maybe I should get with the program if I don't want to get my head cut off.
Well, that's the thing. It's rare, even nowadays, that you'd find a woman that would talk crap to a man who, like, she's actually interested in, like, on that basic instinctual level.
Right.
Like, there are some, and eventually they usually end up knocked out on the ground, like you do. But like they know that when they can't overpower a man and they want something out of him, like they can't demand it.
Well, yeah, that's what a lot of modern women can't comprehend, right? So, yeah, they know, they have like simps on their side, law enforcement, the government on the side. But if you're out here being bold towards a man, um, the cops are 2 minutes away. How much damage do you think that man can do in 2 minutes?
Whew, quite a lot.
Yeah,
I'll be surprised if she's not dead by the end of those 2 minutes.
That's the thing. Like he can do. Like the answer is the man can do as much damage as he wants in those 2 minutes.
Yes. And a lot of women, they're losing that sense of, maybe I should not be talking all crazy towards this guy.
Yeah,
Like I'm another man. Because I'm sure you guys have that. How do I explain it? When a woman comes at you like a man, you don't see her as a woman anymore.
No.
Well, would you guys agree? If she comes at you all crazy, all bucking at you, like going up in your face, like "fuck you, you ain't gonna do shit," you just see another man in your face at that point.
It doesn't even need to go that far.
No, but like in a man's mind, it's like, what the fuck?
Like I've faced off against women in some competitive martial arts. Like,
oh, that's different. I was talking about it in the streets.
Yeah, like that's the thing. But like for the male mentality, as soon as you're engaged in combat at that point,
right?
Like it's just an opponent.
Yes.
Gender doesn't matter at that point. That's just your opponent.
But at the same time, how do I say? Because once again, men, in my opinion, at least a lot of men, not all men, we have the tendency to hold back. Solely because, all right, that's a fucking female. If I go too hard, I'm a fucking killer. Type shit, right?
Yeah, we know the damage we're capable of.
What'd you say, Gray?
No, that's the thing on the competitive sports level. Like now, maybe it's just me, but like I didn't. I went all out because at that point I'm just trying to perform.
Yeah, the fact that she agreed to step in that, to fight you, like she agreed to do it. Then I definitely go all out.
Yeah, no, and then it was funny because then years later, try it with another girl who, she had combat experience due to some military training, but she didn't have like the kind of fighting experience. Like
she never fought against a grown man and won, like in the actual combat experience.
Yeah, but that was the thing. Like, so I'll whatever. It was fencing. So like I made, and I thought it'd be like kind of fun. I'll make some boffer weapons and we'll mock fence and like we'll have like a mock sword fight. Yeah, I get into the actual combat stance and start to take it seriously. She immediately goes into the fetal position and screams.
Like you agree to do this? Get your ass up. Hold up.
Well,
No.
That was the thing. Like that.
Right.
Like I was fucking stunned at that point because it's like,
What the fuck are you doing?
what?
No, get your ass up.
It wasn't even like I'm threatening, I'm aggressive, I'm aggressive, I'm yelling. It's just like, no, this is a disciplined combat stance.
Right.
And that's someone with like some experience with weapons. That's not just a random who's never thrown hands a day in her life.
Well, because she knows inherently, hey, you guys can disagree with me if you want. Men, once again, when it comes to physical capabilities, you are superior. Faster reaction, stronger, more agile. All that craziness. Like it's.
I think the biggest thing. I think the biggest.
Biology 101.
Yeah, and aside from all that, I think the biggest difference between both of us is that we can take much more than they can.
Do you hear all that nonsense about them though? In the modern age, it's saying women can take more pain because we get childbirth. You guys almost died during childbirth, right?
Well, no, and what they failed to mention is that the female body releases a shit ton of natural painkillers during childbirth, and they still ask for freaking epidurals.
Yep.
Yeah, my cousin, she thought that
drugs.
Yeah, she thought that you ain't gonna get that needle in my back. Wait a minute, I'm gonna go natural. A few hours within labor. Give me that medicine. Just put it in my back. It's so painful. That's what my parents told me what happened.
Whereas I was talking to this one MMA fighter, and due to the amount of multivitamins he was taking, he actually got a bad case of kidney stones. The dude freaking did jumping jacks to speed run that shit.
It's all right. That's kind of fucked. Can you say beyond painful? What the fuck?
Exactly. And he was like, "Shit to do, so I'm doing jumping jack and speed run this."
I had to think about that for a second. I was like, "Wait a minute,
what?"
He's just gritting his teeth while he's doing the jumping jack.
I've literally seen grown men cry over kidney stones, like literally in the bathroom, like literally crying, trying to piss. So I've never dealt with it. Thank God. I probably jinxed myself, but I know men personally. They're in the bathroom, literally like legit crying. I was like, "Bro, is it really that painful?" I'm like, yes, it is bad.
Yeah,
depending how big the stone is as well.
Yeah, this guy, definitely one of the toughest guys I've ever spoken to in my life, and I heard some of his training regimen. He abused the shit out of his body for the sake of his career. So,
what does he do? That Muay Thai shit? Kick the fuck out of his shins?
No, it's called conditioning. It's like 14 hours a day at the gym, being pushed till you throw up every single day by your coach.
What is he? Is it just weightlifting or what sport? Like what the?
MMA. So like,
MMA. Okay.
MMA. So like weightlifting, combat training, like the whole works.
Right. Yeah, I talked a lot of shit about MMA fighters when I was younger. I got into the cage a couple times. I haven't talked shit since. That shit's no joke. Like it is no joke. Like step in the fucking octagon if you guys think I'm fucking joking. Gray, he knows, but everybody else in the chat, anybody else, if you think I'm joking, get into the fucking octagon. But actually, somebody that has some basic level of MMA, you'd be like, what the fuck? I was tired out by the first round. I'm like, I don't want to go another round. I'm done. And these dudes go 3 to 5 rounds. Nah, fuck that. Respect for people that trains MMA. All respect. But when it comes to women, right, and they go like, especially on the street, and I'm sure you guys saw YouTube videos or any type of videos of women like being like just so bold to guys that are like almost twice the size as them. Like so bold. But then the man used like what? 40-50% of his strength to like push her away or something like that. She folds like a lawn chair. Like what the fuck? Like you came up at my face.
Well, no, this is I think TFM talked about this quite a bit with specifically about testosterone and how it relates to control.
Right.
Like so, like like you've seen women before go I'm literally shaking right now. Like that's an adrenaline rush. They're not used to that.
Right.
And testosterone plays a large role in controlling that. With less testosterone, they physically have less control over panic attacks than men.
That is true. Yeah, you're right. Now that I think about it. But it's just like how you gonna go nuts on a person that can literally yeet you across the fucking hallway and then be like all crazy when he pushes you away or he actually gives you a little jab to the face.
I think JD's right there. Like they've watched too many Avengers movies where a woman just like freaking whips her arm up at the elbow, hits it, like wraps a dude on the face with her knuckles, and he immediately drops to the ground.
Yeah, and he's twice her size.
Yeah, Batwoman as well. Even though that shit failed immediately.
Yeah,
I find that funny because we can just grab their arms and that would hurt them.
But but that's what I'm talking about, right? Like, society got way too comfortable. Like, this is the most comfortable society that we've created in history.
Yeah.
It definitely shows because the fact that these 5'3", 4" females, 120 or 30 pounds, if we're lucky, because she's usually 300 pounds, goes up against a guy. All in his
She
face.
gonna
Like,
sit on the guy.
Like seriously, like.
Like more women have killed men by sitting on them than they have by throwing hands with them.
Pretty much.
Poor dude. Poor man.
And I'm telling you, man, like I've seen situations where there's equal rights and lefts.
They just get eaten by the blob.
If any woman is watching right now, you need to comprehend. We don't need a lot of time to put you down. We don't need a lot of time.
It goes even further than that. Like a dude not working out at all can beat a woman who does CrossFit daily in an arm wrestling match.
Yes.
Like that's the power difference. Like we don't even have to try in order to be stronger than a woman who is actually putting in effort.
That's testosterone.
Like, it's like a natural dude trying to compete in weightlifting with a dude who's on steroids. It's not fair. Like, no amount of hard work is going to beat that level of chemical difference.
But see, for a rabbit, I'll say just her, yeah. But what I'm saying is, see, men have that point. Men have that threshold where if he gets mad enough, he's going to rely on his instincts at that point. He's going to go fucking nuts. And what the fuck? And what is she going to do about it? Nothing. No, especially if it was a man that's actually in shape. She is fucked.
When the Unga Bunga comes out, she can't stop it.
She can't. Like, who do you think? Who's gonna? You think 2 minutes is too much time? You think I can't do anything to you horribly before the cops or whatever get here? Like, come
2
on,
minutes
lady.
of combat is a long time.
long, especially when it's like an actual, like, very dangerous situation, like very dangerous fight where you will get seriously injured. You know, I'm saying this even just between men.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you guys seen fights all the time on YouTube, at least on the streets. Fights at the most last a minute and a half.
Well, that's the question. Like, how much of it is combat and how much of it is anticipation? I'd say that for every, like, in like street fights, a lot of combat is like just intimidation and looking for that one opening, but the actual conflict probably only lasts a couple seconds. Whereas
Yeah,
if you
depending on who it is. Yeah. I agree.
Rarely, like,
yeah, rare.
Honestly, even in MMA fights, like, I'd have to go look and you'd be curious to time it out. But they don't spend the whole 5 minutes of the match exchanging blows.
No, a good amount of it is within the first round. Like, it's game over.
But like a good part of it is like they position, they feint, they're looking for an opening, trying to get the right psych, and then they pick the moment when they commit to the attack.
Right.
And that's like, what, 20, maybe at most 20% of a fight is actual combat. The other 80% is getting the opportunity and trying not to expose yourself.
And what women can't comprehend, though, is out of these fights, and a lot of them, not MMA, but street fights, you can look up on WorldStar if they didn't delete all the fights. It's pretty gnarly. It gets dangerous very quickly. I've seen a lot of shit in my life. A lot. I still flinch off that shit because once a man starts, if he doesn't believe in control, the person that loses is in danger of dying. That's how vicious the fights can get.
Yeah. I literally got a chair broken on my back one time.
How the fuck did that happen?
I don't know. I was drunk.
Oh.
That explains.
Was this at a bar or?
I think it was a little bit after I graduated from the military. You know, I completed the 4 months.
Yeah.
And I went out with some friends to a bar, and I don't know who or why, but some dudes started fighting, and I wasn't on the fight, but the guy missed and the chair hit my back, and I was like, bro, what the fuck?
And see, that's just between men, right?
Yeah.
Between men, shit will go down south very quickly. And with no rules, no referee, the person that loses is in gigantic danger of dying. That's why I tell women, why do you think you have all of these Sims and White Knights to your rescue? Because they know. Because men know other men. They know. It won't take long to put you down. Forever.
Because keep in mind, that's like going back to the MMA, like that is like you can picture like 2 minutes of a fight between relative equals where you respect your opponent's fists.
Yeah.
Against a woman where her strongest attack probably isn't going to do shit to you, that's 120 seconds of a one-way beatdown.
Yeah, that person doesn't hold back.
Yeah.
Well, in the event that you actually have the fighting of a man and a woman in a legitimate setting, I saw a black. Yeah, I saw a black dude who reviews boxing matches and MMA fights, and he was just showing like the abuse because I don't know if she was Russian or Ukrainian, but this tall, long, slender blonde, like she had amazing form. She was just hitting absolutely all her punches, kicks. You could just tell how well of a fighter and how well trained she was. Literally, this trans who was like completely like hopped up was literally taking knees to the face And I'm like,
Yeah, they
man,
become,
it was ridiculous. Like
Talk
just
about
to
that
see the
trans with the braids.
yeah, the trans who fought the blonde with braids. I think she had like yeah, she was way taller than the trans, and the trans had like purple hair. I can't remember what color hair, but
Oh, wait, wasn't that like an ex-ranger or something like that?
can't remember.
Ex-military. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I can't remember the specifics, but I've never seen such a pummeling and like just no damage taken. It looked like it was a video game.
Yeah, it's the craziest. It is insane how it's even plausible, and this goes into other scenarios such as actual boots on ground combat. They first off, they're not built to even carry shit ton of equipment long term. If we were downrange, that's already a problem. Two, feminine products or whatever they need in combat. What if it's that time of the month? Do you think that she'll be able to fight clear headed?
They can't
I
fight
don't think
clear-headed
so.
even when it's not that time of the month.
Yes. And I always tell, I explain my case. I'm like, okay. Men, just men only infantry, like we've been doing since the dawn of time. We're able to, actually get along pretty well. Nice cohesion, unity. If we have to fight it out, we'll fight it out if there's any problems. And more likely than not, we'll be cool right after the fight. And we will not hesitate to have each other's back during battle. And you can heavily rely on on the man that's left and right of you. You can rely on these men to make sure that you get out alive. I'm talking about a comparison of a woman. Put a woman inside of the unit. The dynamics of the platoon. Let's say, yes, you put a woman in the infantry platoon. The dynamics of that platoon changes because now there's somebody of the opposite sex in the platoon. So of course, a lot of men they're going to be acting differently because there's a woman present, and the fact that she's one of the only women within that platoon, or the only woman, man, once again, especially when you're downrange in battle, she's literally like, damn, she's the only woman. Right now, she's a 10 because there's nobody else you can compare her to. That's what we call desert goggles, right?
Hmm.
And let's say that she gets shot, right? Injured, bam, shot in the ankle. Oh shit, she's down. How many men are going to put their lives on the line to save her? Because once again, biologically speaking, a man, for the most part, can help, but go to the rescue, and then he's willing to literally go into the line of fire and get himself killed in the process.
As
As
soon as the men in that platoon hears the woman scream, honestly, it doesn't even matter how based or red-pilled they are. They're going to be distracted.
It's biology. It's Unfortunately, that's just how we built. I will even say it myself. It will be difficult for me. Okay, I'm glad that I'm red pill. It'll be difficult myself for me to, hearing a woman or a child in need, and then I'm like, okay, I'm in protector mode now because I'm a man. But luckily that I'm red pill, I know better. Like how men say you should control your little buddy down there. You should control your other aspects of biology, such as being quick to go and save the day, not even thinking about the consequences, right? Because what if she's getting attacked by like 4, 5, 6 dudes? What are you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, think about it from like the opposite side. Your opponent is a mixed squad. Like, I know straight up, I'm going to say target the woman because that's going to render the entire unit less effective. But don't kill her.
Yeah.
Make it so that she's able to scream.
right?
Man, in my time in the military, I'm glad there wasn't any women in my platoon because I think the biggest problem we would have would be that we can't expect from her the same that we would expect from another man. You know, I think that's a big problem.
Well, that's it.
Yes.
How many women in the military could lift a male soldier loaded with gear into an evac chopper?
That,
I would say only
Yeah.
one.
and
Because
that's a lot.
I only know some. She's abnormal. She's huge. She's 5'10".
There was.
She has a
there was-
chance. I'm not saying like she's able to, but she has a chance.
Yeah, but if she
A way
can't
higher chance.
if she can't deadlift 240, then she can't. Period.
Yeah, she's
I
at
had,
CrossFit nerd. So
I had a situation like that happen one time in boot camp, you know, where one of the female officers, she fell down and was hurt, but and she couldn't get out. It was she stuck her foot in a hole. I don't know. I wasn't that close, but I saw a bit. And the other women tried to rig her out. You know, there was like 3 of them, and they couldn't. And the drill sergeant, just went there, picked her up from, just grabbed her arm and yeeted her out of the hole. You know, with one arm.
yeet.
Yeet.
And here's another thing. And Brandon Trueblood, yeah, he's a veteran. That I know he's a veteran. But there's other issues with, you know, women trying to LARP as men, trying to go into the infantry thing. How much you want to bet that she will be causing unnecessary drama between men within the platoon? Manipulation, rumors, all that crazy shit. How much you want to bet that she's going to do that out of spite or out of amusement?
Or maybe seeking a promotion.
Oh,
Yeah,
that happens
get it.
throughout the army. Well,
Yeah.
you know as well, Random. You know,
Yeah.
it's the fact that we have to accept it. It's insane. That
It's bullshit.
how the fuck you became an NCO within a year and a half? What the fuck?
On her knees, clearly.
Right.
I literally yelled once. I mean, I saw a female. She became I don't know the translation, but she moved up, you know, and I just looked at my brother and was like, "Who did she have to suck to go up so fast?" I just screamed, and my drill sergeant was looking, "Bro, what the fuck is this guy doing?"
And don't get me wrong, okay? There are the select few females that actually pay their dues, okay? I'm talking about a select few.
That's true.
Plenty of them. You can tell immediately that is that a train in the background? What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that letting you it's a train.
Okay. You can tell immediately because as a position of leadership as NCO, she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. And that's even scary. Because what if you have to follow her downrange? Think about it, gentlemen. What if you have to follow an NCO that sucks some shalom to get her promotion? And she's in charge of you guys. She's a big factor of whether you live or die.
I think she doesn't even have to like be with you. She just has to give an order.
That's it. And when she clearly is giving a fucked up order, I'm the NCO. You listen to me.
Like at that point, even administrative violence might not be enough to save you.
Yeah,
because there's that idea of this thing, like a man NCO that makes a seriously bad call and is held, like he'll be held accountable for it.
Yep,
Like
to the
if all the
highest degree.
if the paper trail goes back to her, a woman who got there on her knees,
They'll slide it under the table a little bit, give her a lesser punishment.
Yeah,
that's the fucked up part. You die because of her, and she does get punished like that.
Just like I said on the last stream, women should be held even more accountable for the mistakes and going out their way doing things, you know.
Because in the end, since the dawn of time, men hold other men accountable.
Yeah.
All right. We hold them accountable, especially in war. Oh, in war, men are hella accountable. And there's a motto in the military. I don't know if you have it in your military, random guy, but a leader would not do something. A leader would not tell their subordinates to do something that they wouldn't do themselves.
Oh, that we have that here too.
You do have that as well?
Yeah, my platoon commander. When I saw him, he was, out of shape, and and I'm gonna take a PT example because I saw him and I was like, well, he's really out of shape. But he literally was able to beat all of us, both running, both lifting, and
I agree with you, man. And Gray, I have a question. And we're gonna go back to the abortion thing, right?
Oh yeah, we deviated a bit.
What would be your solution to resolve the gigantic influx of abortion? Like your not just solution, but multiple solutions. What would you do?
Okay, well, multifaceted. First of all, the only place it is that abortion would be even considered acceptable would be like it was non-consensual insemination by a obviously negative genetic prospect like a family member, or the woman's and the woman alone. Well, no, and the woman's life is in danger. Because I do agree that it is bad to ask a woman to die for the sake of a child that she did not consent to having.
Okay.
So, with leeway here, I'm going to say the morning after pill is still acceptable.
Right.
Because that is meant to prevent fertilization.
Yes.
Everything beyond that, from the moment of conception, the woman is considered the guardian of the child.
Do you believe that the man being kicked out of the household, no male influence within the woman's life, plays a huge factor in this entire situation?
Yes, absolutely. If we're going to go to that, again, we're going to the extremes here, but straight up, a woman would not be considered an independent adult. She'd either be, you either belong to your father, belong to your husband, or you belong to the government.
I agree.
Like, that is effectively what it is now, but we would just make it very spelled out.
And if the father was still within the family, it'll be a lot less chance of her even worrying about any type of abortion.
It would. However, fathers can and often are simps.
Right.
So that can't be relied on.
Okay.
That's why, like, there's the severe consequences that go along with it. Now, basically, in the event of the child dying of, say, a miscarriage, there would be a manslaughter trial to determine whether or not the woman was at fault.
Miscarriage.
Yes. Because, like, that's the thing. Like, if the woman is pregnant and she's considered the guardian of the child,
Yeah.
that child is considered an independent human being under her protection. Miscarriages can happen due to, like, genetic factors. Like, there's some very rare cases
Or
where a
she's
woman's
stressed out, or
too much stress, or her or there's a genetic issue where her immune system will
Right.
attack the fetus. Like,
Right.
these things have happened. But
So you're saying, like, you know, she just drinks 5 drinks a day?
or smokes.
Well,
Every
no,
time.
well, that's the thing. If she is an alcoholic and she is compromising the child's life via alcohol and the child dies,
And she's a smoker as well.
that's that would be a manslaughter charge.
I wonder how they'll prove it. Testimony?
Well, no, that's the thing. Manslaughter is if it's by accident.
Oh,
If she
yeah.
can prove that she did it with intent, then you're looking at like first or second degree murder.
Yeah. But it is pretty hard to prove that she intentionally tried to kill her child.
Yeah,
But
like in
her
the event,
actions herself can be like, all right, you knew you were pregnant. You were doing all this shit that says on the side of the bottle or on the side of the car and the cigarettes saying, if you're pregnant, do not touch. And you did it anyway? That can still be grounds of murder.
yeah, like I'm pretty sure it's not legal to poison a human being. So whatever the charge for poisoning is.
Yeah, like just being beyond careless and drinking and smoking and just being careless as fuck. I still believe that there should be murder charges.
Like, that's the thing. That child dies, but there would be charges as well. But, like, if she went and goes and gets a back alley abortion,
Yeah.
that's a first degree murder charge for both her and the person who performed the abortion, and anyone who was associated with it is considered accessory to murder. You've got to nail everyone involved to it the same way as you would an actual murder case.
Okay, do you have any other solution on top of what you currently mentioned to bring down the abortion craziness?
The next, well, that right there, instilling those severe consequences takes care of a lot of it. I think I'd need someone to push back to iron out anything a bit smoother there, because I can't think of every angle.
Right.
But the other one would be custody. Given what we've seen with the statistical differences between children raised by single mothers and children raised by single fathers, the father gets default custody. If the child is too young to survive without the mother's milk,
Yeah.
then a wet nurse may be appointed.
Okay.
Like, if it's deemed that the mother is a threat to the child, then a wet nurse may be appointed. Otherwise, the mother may be in the child's life for a while, but she does not have custody.
All right. I see what you're saying. Real talk.
Yo.
What about you? What would be your solutions to this abortion? Well, should I say pandemic or epidemic?
Epidemic, probably.
Epidemic. How would you solve this abortion epidemic? Well, what would be your solutions?
Well, first, big picture, you'd want to start out with taking their right to vote, and then you could vote everything back to what it should be. That would be probably the fastest and first step that I would consider doing if I had the power to.
Right.
But there's so much that Gray just touched on that, like, I think with the morning after situation, that's kind of like the only applicable situation when someone didn't really want that to happen. But yeah, it's like we're so far down a path where, what is it that men, we only have 3 types of ways that we can stop ourselves. You know, we can be abstinent, we can have surgery, or we can wear a condom. Women have like 30 different types of birth control. And when you have, they have as many like choices with birth control as they do white knight simps. That is the disgusting dilemma that we're living through. So when you have that much of a power like disparity amongst the sexes when it comes to birthing, that is where you have to have something massive happen. And like, I know my ideas are pretty radical, but like literally, like you couldn't give them say to make it right, because there'd be so much objectification. And this is one thing that I really want to get down to the bottom, because Chronic, he has more of a genetics background than I do, so he would understand the genome better, and if this could even be possible. But
So,
I don't know.
Before you
Go ahead.
continue, I have a question. What about the laws? Would you change anything when it comes to the laws?
Yeah, I mean, there would have to be like basically a very finite like stance on the timing. Basically, like it's like if the little swimmers didn't get to the egg in time, it would be like a bomb defusal. You know what I'm saying? Like you'd have to like, there'd have to be like a timeline that could be scientifically proven that, you know, it takes for that sperm to travel. And, you know, that's where it would have to be stopped. That's where the like, it'd be like Gandalf, like, you shall not pass. Like there would have to be something proven scientifically to where laws would have to be drafted up to where it would be allowed under certain circumstances. But it's like in today's world, like guaranteeing that to happen, and the powers that shouldn't be wouldn't allow a patriarchal thing like that to happen. But if we ever wanted, like, let's say after the collapse, society's rebuilt to a certain regard, if we had the capabilities of having the laws a certain way, you'd really have to get down to the nitty gritty scientifically, because, you know, once that insemination where this egg and this sperm come together, then yeah, it's like life is that clock is going, you know.
Well,
Okay, I got something for Gray real quick. Somebody disagree with you.
Well, I actually do have something
Damn.
for.
No, that's not good. Nursing by non-mothers is linked to big health issues.
Okay, I'll cover that in just a second. But first, with Real Talk, with regards to your timeline issue, that's where the morning after pill comes in, because the morning after pill is meant to prevent the egg from dropping out of the fallopian tubes and being inseminated.
Okay.
And the hard limit for that is 72 hours, but like it can fail like you can, if you take it like 24 hours and the egg just happened to be almost there, it's still too much. But basically at that point would be if the hormones for pregnancy can be detected, then insemination has happened. And I believe by your standards, that's too late.
Yeah, like the hormones detection would have to be the standard, because that makes the most sense. Is once that body realizes, once the female's anatomy and physiology realizes what the hell's going on, it starts to go into a whole different type of programming. Yeah, so yeah, that would be it.
Yeah. Now, as for Skathy, yeah. Now the thing with the wet nurse is it would only be in circumstances where the mother was either unavailable to be like to nurse the child, or like is seen as a threat to the child. Under most circumstances, yes, it's ideal for the mother to be the wet nurse. And I'd have to do, admittedly, some more look into what the health issues specifically are. But if it's choice between nothing and a wet nurse, or perhaps we have some formula by this point that is a suitable substitute, like it would be under very rare circumstances where the mother is either a danger or not available. But it's a second best option, not the primary go-to. That reasonable?
So do you agree, disagree? What's up, Real Talk?
I kind of faded out there. I thought he was responding to the comment there.
No, he was talking to you.
No,
bad.
No, I did address Real Talk, and then I addressed Skathy.
Whoops.
Yeah, it was Skathy on the second half. The one thing I was trying to say previous to this, I don't know if you guys have observed this through family members, friends, anyone who's had a child in the past, like say 10 years. My cousin, he's literally had like 5 girls, all in my, like both sides of my family. It's been like primarily girls. And I wanted to ask Chronic, like, is there something that they could be putting in like the water, the air, something in our food that could like trick men's sexual reproduction to like have a heavy like percentage side where the sperm are X chromosome and not Y chromosome? Like that was like blowing my mind. I'm like, man, if they could actually change our ability to have men, then we're fucked.
Okay. I have no actual evidence for this. This was just a rumor I heard. But it's that sperm with X chromosomes swim further than sperm with Y chromosomes. That's the closest thing I've heard to that. But from everything that I know, like I'm definitely not as far into genomes as Chronic, but I do have like some history with them. And honestly, it's not impossible because the sperm cell is reliant on the genetic information that it has. So it wouldn't be shocking to find out that there are some differences between a sperm cell with an X chromosome and a sperm cell with a Y chromosome. But I can't say for sure.
There could be like physical attributes that make like the X go faster in the fluid or whatever it may be. But I'm thinking, is there something that could be like forcing the testicles to produce mostly X sperm instead of like a genetic lottery where you're just, rolling the dice on each time that a sperm is produced, where it's like, let's say 70%. What if they could change us to where we are producing now 70% X chromosome sperm when it used to be, say, 50-50 before the usage of like plastics or whatever they're using to change things? I know this is hypothetical because it's just going off of my experience of my family members and seeing their child's births and such, but
Well, I have a bit on that. So, like when the male sex cell is created, like one regular cell divides, and regular male cells have one X and one Y chromosome of their 23 chromosome pairs. So they will always be created in an equal 50-50 ratio. Now, could there be something that specifically sabotages Y chromosome sperm so that less of them survive? Maybe, but it wouldn't be at the creation aspect. That's always going to be 50-50.
Well, isn't there a theory saying that slowly but surely men are going to be dying out, whether it takes thousands of years or whatever? Men are slowly dying out.
I've seen that where, like, basically the logic behind that was that the Y chromosome is shrinking and it will disappear. Right. I have never seen any actual scientific evidence to back that up. And
so do you
quite
believe
frankly,
that...
and here's the thing, and if it does happen, well, then it will just lead to extinction, because like two women cannot make, but like there's no sperm. Like you can't just rub two eggs together and have it fertilize. It needs to be an egg and a sperm.
So do you believe that abortion plays a big part, or why there's more women than men lately in the world, at least?
There's that aspect to it, but like when you also have men dying at greater rates due to like violent crime and like prison
and war,
and they're also in the more dangerous job sectors. Like men just die at a faster rate than women. So
don't forget about marriage.
That's the thing. Like higher rates of suicide.
Yes, and war. We can't forget about war, y'all.
But if we're just going to look at the past couple decades, suicide, job-related injuries, and violent crime,
and marriage,
that's where that's suicide.
I'm talking about dying early because of the stress as well. Dying earlier, not much earlier, but just a little bit earlier.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. But with all those factors, like men just die at such a faster rate than women due to all these combined factors. You're going to get a greater female to male ratio in basically any society.
But it is pretty concerning when it's worldwide.
Well, the funny thing is, China, it's actually the opposite way around because they had that one-child policy for so long.
Yes.
But worldwide, but that's the thing about worldwide, if you just let nature take its course without any societal influence at all, you're still going to have a greater female to male ratio, just because of men doing all the much more dangerous stuff and more likely to die of violence.
That is true. But the fact that women are now choosing to end bloodlines and live into that old age, the gap will slowly but surely increase.
Oh, it's going to get bigger for sure, because not only are they aborting the men, but they're also castrating the men with chemicals to turn them into girls.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Alex Jones turning the frogs gay.
He ain't so crazy now, is he?
Well, no, and that's actually the funny thing. Like, okay, like, are you guys aware of the truth behind the turn the frogs gay thing?
Oh yeah,
I've read it, but I forgot the.
Well, basically, the hormones in birth control pills, like when a woman like goes to the bathroom, those hormones are still in what she excretes, and they're not taken out by the water filtration system. So they end up going into the local wildlife and that's a lot of estrogen to pump into the water. And then you have frogs absorbing the nutrients through their skin because it's very porous. So you are infusing a lot of frogs and other amphibians and everything else that's in the water with a lot of estrogen.
So here's a big question. Do you believe that men will be able to come back after the collapse? I'm talking about masculine men.
They're the only ones that are going to survive.
Yes.
Like, it's not a question of will they come back, it's how long will their reign be.
So pretty much when they come back.
Yeah, because the only way that they wouldn't come back would be if a highly feminized nation swoops in to take control when the existing system breaks down. And even then, you're going to get pockets of resistance popping up. And such a feminized system is in itself due to collapse. So it really is a question of not, but
I see what you're saying, man. Azaris.
Yeah.
I know we've been pretty much ignoring you most of the time, but now I'm coming to you. What would be your solutions when it comes to abortion?
I agree with a lot that Gray has said, but I think an important part to consider is ending the stem cell trade, because a lot of these abortion clinics, a big portion of their funding comes from selling off the stem cells from the abortions. And there's actually an article in Philadelphia where this university that performed abortions, they were like killing children that survived an abortion in order to harvest their organs. It was absolutely crazy and disgusting.
Hypothetically, should I put that out there? I know she's watching.
Oh yeah, Susan's always watching.
Just
watching
waiting.
for a moment of weakness.
Like, got your ass, Yeetus.
She's got a bunch of Sims chained up in her basement
she's
watching
gray
you.
shade of death.
We just gotta send Manic to her. That's good.
Manic can never escape the roast.
Ultimate sacrifice.
But hey, I see what you're saying, Lazaris.
Because if you look at it,
yeah,
abortion really didn't become extremely popular until like the 1990s to today. And that's
I will say even earlier.
Well, it's absolutely crazy to think about because, we went from safe and rare abortions to women having like multiple abortions and bragging about it on social media in the span of 2 generations.
True.
So obviously we got to roll back, but I think a big thing we got to do is definitely remove the incentive from abortion clinics to give out abortions.
Yeah.
Because you can add all these laws, but as long as there's still financial incentive in order to get stem cells from those aborted babies, you'll just have like doctors saying that the women in the child's life are completely in danger, even though it's not, just that way they can get the stem cells from the fetus in order to sell it off.
I see what you're saying, man. I might come back. You know what? I may come back to that in a bit, actually. Last person, unless no, Rishi, he's busy with that GTA good shit. Just some random guy.
Yo.
What's your solution when it comes to abortion?
I think besides removing the incentive for that. One of the things that makes the abortion a real problem is that if the woman wants it, she can hide from everyone. And I believe if that information were, I'm not gonna say public, because that would make a lot of problems. But I mean, if her close families and the man who is the father would notice it before that, I believe she would have a lot more pressure, to make that decision, and that would help her realize how tough, how serious having an abortion really is.
Okay, that's true. Um, so we're going to start winding down now. We're going to start with real talk. Real talk. Is he there? No? Maybe so? You
It
there,
might
real
be
talk?
My
eating
bad,
or
y'all. My
something.
bad.
What do you want to say to the Warband when it comes to the abortion epidemic?
Gotta guard your seed because when I started out the conversation earlier, you're gonna run into so many. If you choose to deal with the Western woman, you're gonna run into so many of these women who have chosen to follow their tingles and put their bodies through so much stress and abuse biologically to where you're going to be rolling the dice on even having a child with these women because of their damage physically and mentally, of course. So, and you're also going to realize that none of them value life. So what is give them nothing, complete lockout, like Lion talks about, like that's all it really comes down to, is like you can't really even consider it unless you've built yourself up, built your kingdom up, like Mayor talks about, and you're ready to bring a child into this life, and you're ready to have a virgin. So no hymen, no diamond. I mean, it's as simple as that. This conversation, it's endless with the possibilities of their freedoms and their lack of accountability. So like we can come up with so many different solutions, but the biggest solution is us walking away. And if we do want to walk back in, the entire table is set for us to have a proper meal and live a proper, like, familial life of living like how we think we should with like a husband and wife. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you can't even have this conversation of worthiness with these women because none of them are worthy. Like, we already know there's no hymen, no diamond. So yeah, your seed's very, very valuable. Thoroughly vet these women because they will tell on themselves, and they'll let you know of like how damaged they are to where your seed would not be worthy in that vessel.
Thank you for your input, man. Thank you
Sure.
very much. Gray, you're next. What do you have to say to the Warband when it comes to abortion?
Well, unfortunately, like, what is necessary to do to stop this pandemic is going to happen while the current system still stands. So everyone in the Warband, focus on making it to that day, because it's probably going to be soon when shit happens, and there's a pretty good chance, like, honestly, it's almost inevitable that not all of us are going to make it to the other side of that. So
That's true.
if
And I accept that.
Yeah. So to see that day, you look after yourself, you keep your nose clean, and stack plates, stack cash, and don't forget the lessons of these times.
Yes, I agree Thank you for your input.
Thank you very much
You
for
don't have
hosting.
to leave if you don't want to. I'm just gonna be moving to the next person.
Oh, sweet.
Lazarus,
Yeah.
what do you have to say to the Warband when it comes to abortion?
Well, the way that I see abortion is that it's just a symbol of women losing, women abandoning their responsibility, and a society that, you know, sacrifices their children is not going to last. It's like a nation built on sand. It's just going to sink at some point. The only question is how bad is it going to be when it collapses? And I'm sure if you just invest in yourself, you know, get a gun, obviously, have a plan for what you're going to do during those days, you'll make it because just look at the competition. They don't even know what bathroom to use.
And if the Warband is not available, your family is the next best option.
Always,
Okay.
man. You got to build those connections.
I agree 1,000,000%. Because people were like, oh, my family's alright. My family's cool. I'm not cool with family. Until shit hits the fan.
Well,
Then bam,
when
you're out here alone.
well, when shit hits the fan, that's when you really know who has your back and who doesn't. Because people will say that they have your back, but when push comes to shove and the rubber meets the road, people you don't think will have your back, and people that you expected to have your back will throw you to the wolves.
The person that you will take a bullet for is often the one that will pull the trigger. Not all, but a good amount. Thank you for your input, bro. And I'm gonna go to just some random guy. What are you gonna say to the Warband when it comes to abortion?
Well, I think we said a lot already, you know.
Okay.
And I think the best thing to guarantee you have a better wife, you know, a woman that actually respects the life she's generating, is going abroad. I mean, here where I live in Brazil, abortion is illegal. It's not only illegal, it's actually a crime. Even a miscarriage is considered a crime and must be proven that it happened naturally.
That's how it should
So
be, in my opinion.
yeah, I mean that I was looking a bit about it, and yeah, she needs to prove it happened naturally. If they find any trace of it being made by it being that she did something or someone else did, then she's filed as a crime. It's pretty rigid things here. That and it's really looked down upon. You know, I mean, giving birth is is basically the only thing that we as men can do, and women can.
And
And
giving birth should be a great thing.
yeah, I mean, they are fighting too much to be like us, and
Yeah.
they're ignoring the things they are able to do.
And I might have to say something like, see, this is what people don't comprehend. They think that whenever we speak on these issues, like, oh, women should just be popping out babies too easy, blah blah blah, whatever, whatever. Women are held in very high regard throughout time of giving birth to the next generation.
There were little kingdoms built to protect them.
Exactly. What do
Look,
you gotta say about that? Huh?
Look, who's happy? The woman that had a career in didn't have any kids in her 50s, or the women that had 6 children in her 50s and has grandchildren?
And soon to be great grandchildren. You know, if the time is right. I
Yeah.
agree. She's way more happier. Because you heard
She
about
knows.
Andrew Tate and his grandmother, right?
She knows she has a much bigger chance of dying surrounded by family than the other woman because
Andrew
they
Tate
carry
had Andrew Tate had 70 plus people.
what?
I said Andrew Tate has 70 plus people surrounding his grandmother, whether
Damn.
it's related or through marriage, on her deathbed. None
That's
of
a
these
lot.
motherfuckers wouldn't exist without her.
Yeah, that's
And she was
the
very joyful until the end.
that's
I mean,
the female symbol of power, a family. Steady. It's not steady. It's a solid family. You know,
Right.
that's her power as a woman. She's respected as a matriarch in that regard.
Who's gonna say something?
I feel like that is the symbol of legacy right there.
Yep.
Do you know how well the grandmother or the mother is treated? Hell, the great grandmother, how well she's treated within the family. If she's not a bitch, she's treated way better than the
Way better.
actual father that has actual power and influence within the family. She's treated better than him. I'm sure you guys could agree with that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh
That's
yeah,
true.
I have I had a great grandmother. She died at 99.
Betty White?
And 99, yeah, almost hit 100.
Oh, so close.
I know. But the amount of people in the family that visited, it was like 100 people during her memorial. And I feel like that is a legacy right there. You know, it's like
She
a
will
tree.
forever be associated with the man if he's a good man or not. Hell, if he's a successful man or not. She will forever be associated with that man. And on top of that, will be given credit to the next generation. Oh, who's your grandmother? Oh, is this person? Oh shit, you know, it's similar to how do I say, Franklin D. Roosevelt, Eleanor Roosevelt, or who else should I? Well, you guys get what I'm saying, right? She's forever
Yeah.
recognized not only as that person's husband, if that husband's a good man or successful, she's also given hella credit, giving birth to a generation, not only a generation, but a generation that contributes greatly to society.
Yeah, a good woman that built a family is like a tree. Her legacy is not only the tree that is strong, but the seeds that'll plant even more trees. If
The
you get what I'm
branches and the
saying.
fruits also.
Because however your kids ends up, good or bad, who are they going to trace that to? All the way up to mom and dad, but mainly mom. Because women are in charge of culture.
Mm-hmm.
Men are in charge of building and maintaining society. Women are in charge of culture of society, which is why everything is fucked up right now. Okay, they're the ones that teach their kids young of what to do, what not to do, what's good or bad, what's morally right or wrong. And of course, the father can do the same thing, but the father's main job is to teach discipline, teach boundaries, teach the boys how to be a man and teach the daughter to not be fucking fuck boys.
Yeah. The father teaches the kids, prepares the children for the world. The woman raises the children to be. Sorry, I forgot the word, but yeah, the father prepares the children for the world. That's our role as fathers. The main role.
Yeah, and from from birth until around teenager, that's on the mom if the mom's around.
I think you could kind of say it as the mother teaches what is good, the father teaches what is right.
Bingo.
That's a better explanation. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand, you know. Women, whether you like it or not, they have a gigantic impact on the next generation when it comes to how they should act, what like what you said, what's good or bad. You know, all I'm saying, because the father's main objective is going out there getting that bread, getting that money. Right? Of course, he's going to be at home doing what he has to do, mainly punishment if need be, because the fathers are usually the enforcers. But besides that, his focus is outside the home. The mother's focus is inside the home. Or that's how it should be. But that's a good conversation. Like, phenomenal conversation. I am not going to be hungover tomorrow. So definitely earlier stream. I have to recover today. Thank you, Gray, Lazarus, and just remember the guy for joining. Thank you very much.
Thank you for hosting.
Thank you
No
for
problem.
hosting, man.
And
It was a good conversation.
oh, and we're just getting started. There will be another live stream tomorrow if you guys want to join.
What time?
Definitely noon Central Time. Guaranteed. 100%.
Noon Central? I'll probably be at work.
Oh, you will be at work?
I'll
Yeah.
try and make it if I can.
Okay. But I'm going to go back to the noon time because, you know, I have been saying, hey, I'm going to be there at noon. I was going to do around 4 o'clock today, 5 o'clock, but Under Chronic had his live stream. Or I just might as well just go for the 4 or 5 o'clock time. Might as well. I'll let you guys know tomorrow. It'll be a scheduled time tomorrow.
Yeah, well, if I can make it, I'll drop in for sure.
All right,
Yeah,
too
I'm
easy.
definitely sure
Peace
if
out,
I
y'all.
can.
And Puniti.
Puniti.
Yeah.
Yee.
I probably cut 2 of them off, not gonna lie. What do you think about the live stream today, Rishi?
It's pretty good. It's a long one.
Do you have anything to say when it comes to the topic today? Like, what's your overall thoughts on that?
Yeah, just, abortion is murder. It's not mince words, boys. I believe we all find it that way. And despite the exceptions, the overwhelming majority, they're killing their kids out of convenience. So,
Which is not cool whatsoever at all. But we're going to end the stream here. Definitely a phenomenal conversation because, of course, as men, we're not allowed to speak about this on the outside world. We're not allowed to speak on this whatsoever. So it was good to bring people in to get their perspective. It was a good stream. Definitely a good stream. This is Sir Yeetus. Hope you guys took your daily dose of red pills for my live stream. And I am out. And
Shamona.
I did not see that coming. Peace.